Chapter 1651, Breaking Through God's Tower. Chapter 1651, Breaking Through God's Tower. Han Ba had once said that the ancient holy battlefield was a place that could change the laws of this world. As long as you are strong enough, you can establish the law that belongs to you. Now that the 100,000 planes were in the hands of the main temple, they were supreme, and as strong and unshakable as ancient giants standing in the darkness. However, the ancient holy battlefield could change this structure. Want to change? Come on. To the ancient holy battlefield. It was an even wider world, a place that could truly defy the heavens and change fate. A super world where powerhouse gathered and demons flew chaotically. Family, brothers, the soul of a woman was being extracted. Long Fei could only watch, there was nothing he could do. Shenyuan Li was forced into ancient holy battlefield by Zhong Wushuang, but the last string in Long Fei's heart was broken. Right now, he only wanted to enter ancient holy battlefield, and he only wanted to stomp this world beneath his feet and main temple beneath him. Rumble. Who are you? The Tower Guardian Saint of the Tower Question of God shouted. Long Fei's eyes turned red, and with a heavy sound, he said, "Your father." The Tower Guardian Saint's gaze turned sinister. He had never seen such a suicidal tower watcher, he was simply looking for death. Tower Question of God Level 100. There is a Tower Guardian Saint on every floor, their existence is not just lightly obstructed them, they are more like a type of instruction, allowing you to learn more things. Every level of breakthrough had improved. Thus, they were not only the Tower Guardian Saintess, they were also teachers who taught classes. Every single disciple that had entered the God's Tower would treat them with utmost respect. When had they ever seen someone like Long Fei, who didn't know what was good for him? Immediately, the Tower Guarding Saint took a step forward and shouted, "Let the challenge begin." When had he ever been so insulted? The punch carried waves of killing intent as it sealed Long Fei's entire body. However, the moment he rushed to Long Fei's side, bang! Long Fei punched out violently. A punch pierced through the Tower Guardian Saint's chest, causing him to spurt out a mouthful of blood. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Third Floor Saint. You have received 100,000 EXP, 100,000 Spiritual Academy value points, and 10 energy values. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for breaking through the 3rd floor and entering the 4th floor. At this moment, rumble. Rumble. The entire Tower Question of God began to rumble as it shook violently. At this time, Long Fei directly walked to the 4th floor without even looking at the body of the Tower Saint. The instant he entered the 4th floor, the 3rd floor's God's Tower exploded, turning into powder. The entire Tower Question of God's body fell by 1 floor. Buzz Saint died, the God's Tower fell. This is the law of Tower Question of Goddess. Just like when Long Fei killed the 2 Saintess back then, the 2 layers of God's Tower cracked. This time too. After entering the 4th floor, the Saint glared at Long Fei and said, "Brat, you want to destroy the Tower Question of God?" Long Fei didn't even finish his sentence, he took a step forward. The Tower Guardian Saint shouted, "Come at me, die." Bam! His head exploded, the Saint stared deadly at Long Fei. Instant kill. Long Fei stomped his foot on the ground and coldly said, "I just want to kill people." Ding! Ding! 2 system announcements rang out, and Long Fei stepped into the 5th floor while the God's Tower in the 4th floor bursted apart. Boom! Boom! Rumble! He went all the way in a berserk manner, killing in the blink of an eye the entire way. No one could stop Long Fei's footsteps, all of them were killed with a single punch, no doubt about it. How could these saints who were guarding the semi-realistic realm defend against his current power? In the blink of an eye, he had reached the 90th floor. Boom! The Tower Question of God exploded again, and another layer of God's Tower ruptured. Long Fei once again stepped onto the higher floor. Below the Tower Question of God, Yang Huang Ancestor watched as the Golden Tower Question of God continued to shrink and fall layer after layer. He couldn't help but clench his fists tightly. Li Yuanbar scratched his head and asked, "Ancestor, boss destroyed the Tower Question of God, then how do we enter the ancient holy battlefield to find him?" "Yeah, boss, today in ancient holy battlefield, we want to go in as well. To 8 King Kong. Wherever Long Fei went, they would go. They were Long Fei's 8 King Kong, the 8 great holy generals. They swore to protect him with their lives. Yang Huang ancestor muttered, Long Fei doesn't want you to be injured again. What do you mean? The celestial spirit asked. Yang Huang ancestor laughed bitterly. What happened today dealt him too much of a blow. He put all of the responsibility on himself, and he felt that he was not strong enough, and that he was the lone star of the heavenly calamity. He was afraid that if you all were to stay by his side, you all would also die. So, the reason he destroyed all the tower question of God was because he did not want you to enter the ancient holy battlefield. He wanted to shoulder everything by himself. Yang Huang ancestor's heart was filled with bitterness. What a foolish child. Li Yuanba was startled, then suddenly reacted. He rushed up to the god's tower's position and shouted loudly, Boss, don't abandon me, I want to follow you into ancient holy battlefield. Before he could rush out, he was pulled back by the Yang Huang ancestor. The Yang Huang ancestor said, The god's tower have already been destroyed, you can't enter. Then what should we do? Boss is alone in the ancient holy battlefield. He has no one to rely on. What if something happens? Li Yuanba said anxiously. Long Fei's life was far more important than his own. Even if he was unable to help Long Fei due to his uselessness, Long Fei was still able to use his own life to defend against Long Fei's attacks at critical moments. If they weren't by his side, he wouldn't even be able to do this. This was painful for Li Yuanba. 8 King Kong looked at Yang Huang ancestor. The Yang Huang ancestor said indifferently, The way you guys go is different from his. He is destined to. After a pause, the Yang Huang ancestor did not say the rest. He clenched his fists tightly and replied, Don't worry, you will meet with Long Fei again. What you need to do now is to unleash your power of taboos and become even more powerful. Only then will you be able to protect Long Fei. Rumble. A loud sound echoed out. While they were speaking, Long Fei had already stepped into the 100th floor. The last level. The 9 raised their heads and looked into the sky. Long Fei also looked up at the sky, the last level. Jojo, did you feel it? I am one step closer to you. Leah, did you feel it? I'm getting close to you. With 2 light sounds, Long Fei's gaze darkened. Staring at the Saint Presbyter on the 100th floor, he said, It's your turn. As soon as he finished, the fist in Long Fei's hand suddenly exploded. Boom. A violent, murderous punch. Buzz. The clouds in the sky rolled up, the gate of heaven opened, and the divine light sprinkled down. Chapter 1652, Entering Hell. Chapter 1652, Entering Hell. Long Fei stood on top of the tower, and felt the divine light of the firmament falling onto his body. Divine light was a type of sublimation of power. It was a powerful energy infusion for any martial practitioner. However, Long Fei, could not feel any energy fluctuations. Amongst the idea, a huge voice exploded inside Long Fei's mind. Long Fei, even if you break through the tower question of God, you won't be able to obtain any divine power, ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Destiny God's voice. He could not control Long Fei's fate, but he could control the power of the divine light in the sky. Such a Long Fei could not even be considered cannon fodder when she entered the ancient holy battlefield. The anger in Long Fei's heart surged, but he did not say anything. Destiny God laughed coldly. Long Fei, are you in despair? Ha ha ha. Anyone who breaks through the sovereign's set of tower question of God will be rewarded with the divine light of the firmament. This kind of divine light power is the power that all of you rely on to survive in the ancient holy battlefield. No. Ha ha ha. Does this feel good? This is the result of going against me. I was the one who created the immortal body for Zhong Wushuang. How is it? How does it feel to see your beloved woman be snatched away by another man? Ha ha ha. Destiny God laughed out loud. He was furious in his heart, and had nearly died at Long Fei's hands twice. He was still abnormally fearful of Long Fei's sudden burst of strength, and the moment he thought about it, his heart trembled. As long as he had the chance, he would crush Long Fei to death. He must stomp Long Fei into the mud and make him unable to crawl back up. Long Fei looked at the door of divine light that was in the sky and coldly said, "Destiny God, before I find you, it would be best if nothing unexpected happens to you." Destiny God's gaze turned sinister as the corners of his eyes twitched. Long Fei continued, "Because, you will die by my hands." As soon as he finished, Long Fei took a step forward, and directly flew towards the God Realm sect in the sky. Ah! In the air, the Destiny God roared, and shouted heavily, "Long Fei, do you think you have obtained it without the protection of the divine light? Do you think you can survive in ancient holy battlefield? Humph! You won't live more than a day, and then, in the main temple." The Destiny God said to the two oracles who were in control of the Vault of Heaven's divine sect, "Get him to an extremely fierce place for me, Devil Island." A oracle was slightly surprised. Destiny God said, "Yes, Devil Island." The oracle shivered and said, "God of Destiny, that's not good. According to the rules set by God's rebirth, people from his plane of existence should enter the eastern region." The corners of Destiny God's mouth lifted. His right hand took out two crystal clear beads. "What about now?" The eyes of the two oracles released a golden light as they became excited. Devil Island, ha ha ha." And then, when the two Divine Gate envoys moved, the rules of Long Fei's movement suddenly changed after entering the Divine Gate. The two Divine Gate envoys moved, the rules of his movement after Long Fei entered the Divine Gate. At the same time, it was also known as a place of exile. A land of despair, because you will never be able to leave the Devil Island in your life, let alone participate in a godly battle to change the situation. Destiny God looked at the direction Long Fei was moving in and laughed coldly. "You want to fight me? I won't kill you if I play with you, ha ha ha. God of Destiny, don't worry. I bet he won't live past 3 days." One of the oracles carefully put away the pearl. This was a pure soul bead that could allow them to cultivate for a whole month. Another oracle said, 3 days? For someone who hasn't even received the divine light protection, let alone 3 days, I estimate that he won't be able to take even a single day. Just you wait. He's going to die soon. Other than the main temple, ancient holy battlefield was also the king of the plain. This place is vast and limitless, so vast that one cannot imagine it. Most likely no one, aside from the sovereigns, knows how large it is or how many places it has. How many people? Thousands of people enter the ancient holy battlefield every day. Thousands of people die every day. Destiny God colluding with the divine sect's envoys to cause a person's death was something that could be ignored. Who would notice? Sovereigns didn't have the time to pay attention to such matters as sesame seeds. Long Fei, exiled. Entering the ancient holy battlefield meant that his path to power would be extremely difficult. Below the tower question of God, the divine gate of the firmament closed and the entire God's tower began to collapse. Yang Huang ancestor looked up into the sky and said lightly, "Long Fei, you must remember what your father said to you." "All right." Yang Huang ancestor heaved a heavy sigh, and said, "It's time to send you all on your way." Li Yuanba said, "Ancestor, where are we going?" Yang Huang ancestor smiled and said, "Hell." Then he said heavily, "The real hell." "Huh? Huh? Are we going to die again?" Arhat was stunned. They had died once in the gods' martial continent and then were reborn in the death space. Although the death space was not hell, it had the same meaning as hell. Yang Huang ancestor laughed blandly. "God's martial continent is the first time you all died, and this is the second time." "The second time? F***CK. Ancestor, do we have a third time and a fourth time? We aren't afraid of death, but we can't die in chaos either." The fat men Chen said pitifully. Very reluctant. Yang Huang ancestor smiled and said, "Your deaths are only the beginning." What he meant was, the road behind you is still very long, I don't know how many times you will have to die. Li Yuanba took a step forward, and said, "Ancestor, come. As long as you can make me stronger, and let me see boss earlier, I won't have a problem dying 10,000 times." He was like a madman. Li Yuanba was just like that. Your brain is always the same. His name was given to him by Long Fei, his life was saved by Long Fei, and everything he had was given to him by Long Fei. His entire life was lived for Long Fei. Very stupid, very naive. But this was him, Li Yuanba. And then 8 King Kong trembled, looked at Yang Huang Ancestor and said, "Ancestor, let's begin." Yang Huang Ancestor smiled and said, "Is everyone ready?" The 8 of them nodded heavily. A drop of Yang Huang Ancestor's blood essence condensed and both of his hands formed a seal. A strange power poured into it and deeply shouted, "Gates of hell, open for me." Buzz. The door to the ghost realm opened in a flash. Li Yuanba took the lead and stepped into the gates of hell. The 7 of them followed him. 8 King Kong's journey to hell began. Once they appeared again, it would be apocalyptic. Chapter 1653 Abnormal System. Chapter 1653 Abnormal System. While Long Fei was on his way to the Devil Island. It was also in that instant when he entered the ancient holy battlefield. The system sounded out. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for entering ancient holy battlefield. Ding. System notification. System update. 2 notifications sounded out, causing Long Fei to be secretly surprised. Once you enter the new plane, the system will automatically update and evolve. What will it evolve into this time? And then, Long Fei's mind trembled. When he thought of his own chaos realm, he couldn't help but be stupefied. Even his own appearance had changed. He was a completely different person. If it wasn't for the fact that the game system was still there, he would have thought that he had teleported again. Damn. This time, Laozi will definitely not let down his guard. System, if you dare to change Laozi's appearance again, I'll definitely kill you. Long Fei threatened in his heart. He was truly afraid. He was afraid that even if he stood in front of Shenyuan Li, she wouldn't be able to recognize him. He absolutely could not change his appearance. As for the others, Long Fei did not care. As long as he could kill the monsters and level up, as long as he could kill them and level up, even if the entire world was his enemy, he was not afraid. The system is in my hands, the world is mine. Long Fei's gaze was tightly fixed onto the system update progress bar in his mind. He concentrated and became calm, not daring to have any negligence, as he was worried that he would become a completely different person in the blink of an eye. Half an hour passed. Long Fei was still flying in the air as he muttered in his heart, "How big is this ancient holy battlefield? It's been so long since we've been here." Long Fei did not know that he was sent to an extremely vicious place by the Destiny God, and that he was a place that everyone in the ancient holy battlefield was afraid of. Not even ghosts dared to get close. It was the most brutal place in the ancient holy battlefield. However, the size of the ancient holy battlefield was terrifying. I'm afraid no one other than the god knows how big it is, how many places it has. How many humans were there in the ancient holy battlefield? It was unimaginably plentiful. Thousands of people die every day. At the same time, thousands of people enter the ancient holy battlefield every day, and all of them. Things like the fact that the Destiny God had colluded with the envoys of the Celestial Sect of Wonders to dispatch Long Fei to the Devil Island was naturally not discovered by anyone. People die every day. It was normal for one of them, Long Fei, to die. Who would care? Who cares? Thus, Destiny God was fearless. It's been so long, could it be that it's the doing of the Destiny God again? Long Fei muttered in his heart, and when he thought about the mysterious original world that had appeared in his mind, he couldn't help but think of that mysterious original world. When the fist-sized source energy was released, it scared the Destiny God to the point that he peed his pants. How strong was this power? Long Fei had no doubt that if it weren't for the aid of the Sovereign, this kind of origin power would have been able to kill the Destiny God. A fist-sized source energy can kill Destiny God. If I can unleash all of the power from original world, not to mention Destiny God, I can even kill a god with one strike. Long Fei was a little excited in his heart. I must master this mysterious power as soon as possible. This sort of power didn't belong to any of the powers of these 100,000 planes. It was a very special existence. Thinking back to what the colorful fairy dragon and the sleeping beauty had said, the destruction of the dragon race was because of it. Could it be? Was it because of this source energy? Wait. Long Fei's heart tensed up. Golden cudgel. The idea moved, and immediately checked on the golden cudgel among the space ring. Seeing that the staff was still in Long Fei's heart, he relaxed slightly. Original world was still in this main artifact. If it disappeared, then original world would also be far away from Long Fei. In God's martial continent, it's in dragon coffin mode. You are in the golden cudgel mode in Chaos Realm, but now you are in the ancient holy battlefield. What will your progress be? Long Fei asked himself. He was looking forward to it. However, no matter how it changed, what Long Fei wanted the most was the mysterious original world in its body. Suddenly, buzz! The colorful fairy dragon suddenly let out a dragon's roar, and left his body out of Long Fei's control. It floated in the air and said, "Long Fei, you have to walk the road ahead by yourself. I'm leaving." As soon as he finished, the colorful fairy dragon suddenly disappeared into thin air. It was so fast that Long Fei couldn't react in time, but he seemed to have heard the Sleeping Beauty say something to the Rainbow Dragon God and couldn't help but ask, "Sister, what did you tell him?" The Sleeping Beauty did not lie and said straightforwardly, "If he follows you, it will only implicate you." Huh! Long Fei's expression froze for a moment, and after being silent for a moment, he said with a wry smile, "That's fine too, since I'm the lone star of the heavenly calamity realm following me, it'll only cause me many calamities. It's good to leave this place." "Right, sister, if you want to." Without waiting for Long Fei to finish speaking, the Sleeping Beauty interrupted him and said, "Master, I won't leave." Actually, just now, she was the one who forced the colorful fairy dragon to leave. Because, following the appearance of the colorful fairy dragon and the outbreak of the source of energy, a few forces from another large world were ready to make their move. They had even sent out their powerhouses to search for the colorful fairy dragon. She wanted the Rainbow Dragon God to confuse their target, to give Long Fei more time. However, she did not say this. Following that, Long Fei turned to the remnant soul of the Titan King and said, "Titan King, you can also leave, I will rescind the contract." The remnant soul of the Titan King said, "Master, what do you take my Titan King to be? Our Titan tribe never goes back on our words." "Who? All right," Long Fei said lightly. Both of them were in his body, so nothing bad should happen to him. Now, he was the only one by Long Fei's side. This was even better. That way, the people around him would not be harmed. The Heaven's Calamity solitary star was destined to be lonely for his entire life. If loneliness could protect the safety of the people around him, Long Fei would choose to go down alone. After an unknown period of time, nearly fell asleep after a long while. Suddenly, a notification sounded. Ding. System prompt, system update completed. Who? Long Fei's heart tensed up. He did not see what the updated system looked like, but rather went to check his own cultivation technique, the contents of his own space ring. Seeing that everything was still there, Long Fei relaxed slightly, and said, "Fortunately, everything is still there." He was truly afraid that he would be like a new person, completely naked. He really didn't want to repeat himself. The cultivation technique and spiritual treasure were all there. Long Fei opened the system to check, and said, "Let me see what you have updated." When Long Fei saw the new name of the system, he was a little dumbfounded. No one else. What's not good about it? Yet. And it's called the abnormal system? F***CK. I like perverts. Let me see how abnormal you are with this word. Chapter 1654, Devil Island. Chapter 1654, Devil Island. The striking system had leveled up to become the abnormal system. How abnormal was it? It had to be said that being berserk was very abnormal. Killing a toad would result in the release of a divine rank cultivation technique, and chicken would result in the release of a holy vein. Was there anything more abnormal than this? However, the system upgrade now would definitely be even more abnormal. Otherwise, how could it compare to the meaning of the striking system in the past? System, abnormal system. Description, abnormal value obtained. 100 abnormal points released once. Description 2. Choose all the abnormal cultivation techniques and spiritual treasures you need. The rest of the system hadn't changed much. It was the same as before. leveling up by killing monsters and gaining experience points by killing them. It was the system's berserk transformation into a freak. The only difference was that berserk dropped something. Abnormal was when one evolved on the basis of the stuff one dropped. It was when one went through a powerful metamorphosis. As for to what extent, Long Fei still had no idea. However, seeing the word abnormal, Long Fei couldn't help but become excited in his heart. It definitely won't be bad. Abnormal strength. Ha ha ha. It's pretty good. Ding. Do you want to activate the abnormal system? Activate? Of course it has to be activated. Long Fei didn't hesitate at all. The system update would only become more perfect, the striking system would become an abnormal system and it would only become stronger. There was no doubt about that. Ding. The abnormal system has been activated. Buzz. A wave of energy unknowingly exploded in Long Fei's mind. And it also quickly enveloped his entire body, causing Long Fei to feel a power he had never felt before. What kind of power is this? Perverted strength. The system was just a support tool. It did not have any power. But now, Long Fei felt a dense power surging into his body. At this moment. Ding. Activate system furnace. He could not help it, and was not controlled by Long Fei. Next. The ancient myriad spirit set flew into the system furnace. The system furnace burst into flames. Long Fei was startled. What the hell? Whoosh. Blood Moon Punch enters the system furnace. Whoosh. The purple gold armor enters the system furnace. Whoosh. At this moment, Long Fei's technique was draining rapidly, and the piles of spirit treasures inside the space ring were disappearing, all of them being absorbed by the system furnace uncontrollably. Damn. Long Fei scolded angrily. System, damn you, are you trying to destroy all of my things again? Your father worked so hard to get that information out. Damn you. Can you not do this? Can't you give me a way out? Everything was Long Fei's flesh and blood. To refine all of these things, it would be tantamount to slicing his flesh. Ding. The alchemy technique has disappeared. Ding. The engraving formation has disappeared. Ding. The sky shatter sword has disappeared. One by one, the cultivation techniques disappeared. One by one, the soul treasures disappeared. Long Fei was about to go crazy. But, no matter how he cursed, if he could not control himself, the system furnace would be absorbed faster and faster. He did not care about Long Fei at all. A strange flame was emitted from the enormous furnace. These were all the holy artifact that Long Fei had dropped, but they had all turned into ashes now. However, the system kept making noises. Ding. System notification. There is not enough energy to fuse them. Ding. System notification. There is not enough energy to fuse them. Damn you. Are you trying to force me to death? It was also at this time. Rumble. The sky suddenly exploded, causing a blinding white light to appear as Long Fei's body fell onto the ground with a loud bang. Ding. Devil Island has arrived. Chapter 1655, Fury. Chapter 1655, Fury. The system furnace was still crazily continuing. The soul treasures in Long Fei's body disappeared one by one, the cultivation technique he cultivated in, whether it was auxiliary method or sacred art, they all disappeared one by one. However, the moment Long Fei landed on the ground, he was not in the mood to care about these things. Because a cold sword rested on his neck. There were more than 10 sturdy men around, all of their chi was the aura of god power, as they stared coldly at Long Fei. Humph. Manor Lord Luo, here's the reinforcements you called? Ha ha ha. This is the first time I've seen something like this. The leader, a strong man, laughed proudly. Not far behind Long Fei, there was a middle-aged man with blood trickling out from his mouth. Behind him, a large group of commoners knelt. Luo Dongcheng glanced at Long Fei, his eyebrows tightened, and said, I don't recognize him. Indeed. He really did not know Long Fei. He was also secretly anxious. What was the situation when reinforcements had yet to arrive? The leader coldly looked at Long Fei, and said, Brat, he said he doesn't know you. Long Fei nodded, and said, He's right, I don't know him either. Ha ha ha. One-on-one, "Are you guys acting?" Leader sneered, stared at Luo Dongcheng and said, "Master Luo, stop playing tricks on me. If you cannot hand over the 3 divine spirit pills today, then all of you Luo Heights will die." The brawny man had a savage and cold-blooded look in his eyes. He didn't have the slightest intention of threatening them. As long as he could not hand over the God Spirit Pill, he would kill all. Divine Spirit Pill. The ancient holy battlefield was a type of special cultivation energy. Just like spirit stones. It was just that. The divine spirit pills were collected by people, regardless of whether you were a warrior, ordinary people, or even demon beast, all of you could gather the power of the divine spirit. If he wanted to condense the power of divinity into a pill, that would be far too difficult. A divine spirit pill required the power of tens of millions of gods to successfully condense. In the entire Luo Heights, more than 600 people could only gather 1 divine pellet a year at most if they did not drink it. 3 of them were needed at once, which Luo Heights couldn't take out at all. Not to mention, the people of Luo Heights also needed the power of gods to cultivate. Luo Dongcheng said, "Lord Chen, our Luo Heights doesn't have 3 divine spirit pills. I can't take them out at all, if you really force me." Humph. Although Luo Dongcheng was injured, his aura did not lessen in the slightest. He said in a heavy tone, "Then let's fight to the death and destroy my Luo Heights. I'll drag you into hell as well. If you don't want to accept it, then do it. If you want to kill me, I won't let you go either." Lord Chen's gaze darkened as he said coldly, "Luo Dongcheng, you want to go against my gang of heroes? How about you weigh yourself? Are you qualified?" Hearing the name Gang of Heroes, the commoners behind Luo Dongcheng all trembled, their eyes revealed fear, as though Gang of Heroes was pressuring them from all directions. Luo Dongcheng's expression also changed slightly as he clenched his fists tightly and said, "If you want to kill everyone, I don't care if you're Gang of Heroes or the Myriad Ghost Gang. You're courting death." As soon as he finished, a brawny man suddenly attacked. Boom. He took a step forward and the sound of exploding thunder suddenly sounded out. In that instant, he rushed to Luo Dongcheng's front, causing Luo Dongcheng's eyes to turn sinister, his fists striking forward, but he was too late. Just at this moment, the brawny man's speed suddenly changed. He grinned and laughed sinisterly. Ha ha ha. Bang, bang. 2 loud explosions rang out. Not far away, 2 heads of over 70-year-olds were beheaded. Blood spurted out from the heads of the 2. Half of their bodies trembled and fell to the ground. Many of the Luo Heights' faces were pale, screaming in fear. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. The dozen or so Gang of Heroes lackeys all started to laugh loudly. Seeing everything that was happening before his eyes, the anger in Long Fei's heart was instantly ignited. It was not because they were cruel, but it was because he was thinking about himself. Thinking about what happened in Fairyland of Tower Question of God. The people around him couldn't protect him. Luo Dongcheng shouted with bloodshot eyes, "Despicable and shameless, come at me if you dare." Ha ha ha. Luo Dongcheng, have you forgotten where we are? Devil Island, you can even say it with such a despicable and shameless manner, ha ha ha. I feel so funny for you. Lord Chen said in disdain. Devil Island. There were no rules. There are no legal constraints. The only law is the fist. Whoever had the toughest fist would become the king. The so-called despicable, sinister, and cruel were all common things here. No one would sympathize with the weak, they would only look up to the powerhouse. No matter what method you use to become a powerhouse, you will be respected and looked up to. Here, the law of the jungle was displayed even more vividly. Luo Dongcheng's teeth chattered loudly as he said, "If you have the guts, come at lousy. Bullying commoners, what kind of nonsense are you? You're courting death." Shua. With another movement, a sturdy man rushed towards Luo Dongcheng. In order to prevent him from attacking the commoners behind him again, Luo Dongcheng's gaze was tightly locked. However, at this moment, another strong man suddenly attacked. Bang, bang. Ha ha ha. This time, the 2 children were blasted away. Their bodies were split into pieces in the air, and their flesh and blood fell from the sky. The scene was too horrible to look at. Ah! Lina. Yinna. After a few screams, a woman fainted. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. The people of Gang of Heroes laughed out loud. Their faces were filled with excitement, but there was not the slightest bit of cruelty in their eyes. Instead, it was a kind of pleasure. Ah! Ah! Luo Dongcheng almost went crazy. Long Fei was also raging in his heart. Goddamit! He shouted out angrily. In that instant, Lord Chen stared straight at Long Fei, his eyes went cold, and sneered in contempt. Kid, what did you say just now? Who dared to curse Gang of Heroes? The surroundings went silent, and everyone stared at Long Fei. Long Fei also slowly stood up from the ground. He stared at Lord Chen and said each word. I said, destroy your entire family. As soon as he finished, the expressions of a few Gang of Heroes lackeys slightly changed. This kid is dead for sure. He's dead for sure. Lord Chen hates it when people scold him the most. This brat actually scolded his entire family. Even Yama Minamaya can't save him now. The veins on Lord Chen's forehead popped out, his eyes fiercely opening. Staring, he stared at Long Fei as if staring at King Kong, and laughed sinisterly. Brat, you're dead. Boom. His words were like the mark of a judge, directly erasing Long Fei's name. With a step, he punched Long Fei on the head. Die. Chapter 1656, Blasting Fist. Chapter 1656, Blasting Fist. Be careful. Luo Dongcheng shouted. However, he did not go forward, because in his heart, Long Fei was already a dead person. Even if he went forward, he wouldn't be able to save her. Moreover, he still had to protect the people of the Luo Heights. Just a reminder. Long Fei watched as Lord Chen took a step forward. His aura moved. Power of Blood God. Buzz. System notification. Power of Blood God has disappeared. Evil fire. Ding. System notification. The evil fire has disappeared. Long Fei kept releasing cultivation techniques, but he couldn't release a single skill, and all the skills in his skill bar had disappeared. Destroy the heavens. Ding. Exterminate the heavens. The heck? Not only did the cultivation technique disappear, even the items inside the space ring also disappeared, with the exception of a few special items. Golden cudgel. Ding. System notification. The current player has too little divine power and cannot use it. F***ck. My dog roared in his heart. Lord Chen's fist was getting closer and closer, and if Long Fei were to be hit by this fist, he would immediately return to his maternal grandma's house. There was no way to block it. What made Long Fei most irritated were the system's incessant notifications. Ding. Insufficient energy. Please supplement. Ding. Insufficient energy. Please supplement. Ding. Insufficient energy. Please supplement. The system furnace kept releasing warning sounds, annoying brushstrokes. F***ck. There's not enough energy, right? Then let's see how much energy this system furnace of yours can withstand. Long Fei roared in his heart. Universal Soul. Bring it on. The Universal Soul was also a fusing item. He was also a special object that had not been absorbed by the system furnace. Long Fei was ready to throw caution to the wind. As long as the system could calm down a bit, it would be fine. Buzz. The Universal Soul rushed into the furnace, causing a ray of light to burst out. Is the energy sufficient now? Long Fei shouted. Now, don't bother me, right? The Universal Soul flew into the midst of the system furnace, and in that instant, the system furnace erupted with a beam of light. Suddenly, ding, a beautiful system beep sounded out. Congratulations to the player Long Fei for creating the new skill, Tyrant God Fist. Ding. Do you wish to cultivate it? In that moment, as if the system furnace had exploded due to the burst of energy, it let out an explosive sound. Only an ancient book was left in the cauldron. There were 3 words written on top of the ancient book, Armageddon Fist. Ding. Do you wish to cultivate it? The system beeped once again. Tyrant God Fist. Long Fei's eyes became excited. Cultivate. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for training God's Fist. Long Fei moved, staring at Lord Chen's fist. He immediately threw a punch, Blasting Fist. Rumble. Fist to fist. The moment their powers clashed, Lord Chen's right arm completely shattered into powder, and his entire body flew out. At the same time, his mind ruptured, his sea of consciousness crumbled, and the divine spark in his sea of consciousness shattered as well. The god-slaying fist. This was the blasting fist. Bam! With a loud sound, Lord Chen fell into a pool of blood 100 meters away. The amount of blood on his head was 0. Instant kill. Everyone was stunned, they could not react and stared at Long Fei like he was a monster. At this time, Long Fei's face was full of excitement, and he muttered, "This is King awesome." The system sounded out. Ding. Chapter 1657, Perverted Feelings I Like. Chapter 1657, Perverted Feelings I Like. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Lord Chen for obtaining 100 experience, 10 god power, 1 abnormal value. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining divine spirit pills 1 at a time. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining dragon step. Do you wish to cultivate it? At the same time, the system beeped out a prompt. Ding. Do you want to release metamorphic energy value? The evolution of the abnormal system would result in the system bringing along 100 points of metamorphic energy value. Waves of red light flashed out from the divine spirit pill and the dragon step that floated in Long Fei's mind when the system beep rang. Only these two things could use metamorphic energy value. It could only be used on items that had just dropped. Long Fei hesitated for half a second and said, "Let's see how abnormal your system is first. Use abnormal energy. Dragon step." In that instant, with a shift in energy, the 100 metamorphic energy value disappeared and was released onto the dragon step. Then, the red light exploded and the dragon step started to transform rapidly. Immediately. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Great Perfection Dragon Step. Do you wish to cultivate it? The system beep descended. Long Fei was stupefied. She looked at the Great Perfection stage of the Dragon Step in her mind, unable to recover from it for a long time. This is abnormal energy. Damn. Isn't this too abnormal? What the F***K? Cultivation techniques were an extremely long process for any martial artist, and it was the same for Long Fei. Although he relied on the proficiency, to cultivate to the Great Perfection stage would require a large amount of time and mana. In the Chaos Realm, he had yet to learn any kind of attack techniques to reach the Great Perfection stage. But now, the energy would instantly carry you and send you flying, and in an instant, you would reach the Great Perfection realm. How abnormal was this? 2 fears. Huff, huff. Long Fei took a few deep breaths, trying his best to calm the restlessness in his heart. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for training Great Perfection Dragon Step. In the system's cultivation method column, there was an extra cultivation technique. However, the blasting fist was not in the Chi method bar, which surprised Long Fei. Opening the system, he found a special place in the Chi method bar. Special cultivation technique. Skill path, blasting fist grade, explosive god consumption, none cooldown, 24 hours proficiency, none description, a 1-punch kill. Without any explanation, a single punch was enough to kill. There's no proficiency, there's no consumption, there's no level limit, it's just a violent killing with 1 punch, it's just that. His cooldown time is a bit painful. Long Fei was a little depressed and at the same time excited to the extreme. The combined power of the universal soul was too terrifying. The key was, he was a level 1 skill, so how could a newbie who had just entered the game be able to instantly kill a level 100 boss? This is great. Long Fei shouted excitedly. At this time, everyone reacted. All of the people of Gang of Heroes stared straight at Long Fei, and shouted, "Who exactly are you? Do you know who we are?" Long Fei sneered, "I am your father, who the hell cares who you are, not a single one of you should think about leaving. All of you must die." No kidding. It was to kill. After entering the ancient holy battlefield, his cultivation technique had disappeared and his spirit treasure had disappeared. Although Long Fei was still at the same level, but too weak. He didn't even have a chance to undergo his tribulation. In this case, it would be impossible to condense a divine spark. However, there were many people like Long Fei who did not condense their divine sparks. A lot of the people had opened up their tower question of God to this plane to avoid the heavenly tribulation. Unless it was the blend for Godhead, it would still be unable to condense a divine spark. However, the only difference was that one's cultivation base could be raised, no longer restricted by the lower planes. It was not as good as Long Fei being a semi-realistic realm now, but the experience gained from killing the people in the ancient holy battlefield would also help him break through and level up. There was no obstruction at all. If that was the case, how could they not kill him? As soon as Long Fei finished speaking, the expressions of all the people of the Gang of Heroes turned cold, and one of them shouted, "Kid, we are from the Gang of Heroes. If we offend your Gang of Heroes, your ancestors will all die." "Oh, if that's the case, then you can't leave here alive." "Sure." Long Fei's fists sank. In that instant, the bodies of over a dozen of Gang of Heroes' minions trembled in fear. They did not even bother with Lord Chen's corpse and immediately ran out of the Luo Heights, loudly shouting from afar, "Brat, just you wait. Luo Dongcheng, you guys wait too." He fled frantically. Long Fei did not chase after them. If they really fought, he might not be a match for more than 10 people. After all, Dragon Step of the Great Complete Realm was not some attack technique, but a type of footwork. Having just entered the ancient holy battlefield, what Long Fei needed to do now was to figure out where he was, how he could enter the battlefield, and how he could change the laws of the world. This was what he wanted to do. Just as the people of Gang of Heroes were escaping from the Luo Heights. Not far away. Kill. Kill all these bastards of the Gang of Heroes. Kill them all. The 5 of them rushed out. Not too late, not too early, just when the Gang of Heroes' disciples were escaping from the Luo Heights, these 5 people. He also chuckled. "Camel Manor Lord, I'm really sorry for delaying our trip and being late. Fortunately, we were able to make it in time and scared them away." One of them had a vulgar appearance, but an unusually thick face. Luo Dongcheng laughed, knowing very well that this employment team that he had paid for had long ago hidden themselves. They were afraid that the Gang of Heroes would not dare to come out. "What's late?" "Obviously, he doesn't dare to come out. Is this how you do things when you take our money? If this matter were to spread to the mercenary guild, your mercenary group would be disbanded. Let's see who will hire you back." Luo Dongcheng did not say it, but that did not mean that the people from the Luo Heights did not know how to say it. That wretched young man did not refute, and laughed, "Everyone is here to beg for food. Moreover, when you hired us, you did not say that it was Gang of Heroes." Luo Dongcheng said slightly, "I will not tell anyone about this matter. You can go." Finished. He ignored them and quickly walked to Long Fei's side. At this moment, the filthy man also walked towards Long Fei. Luo Dongcheng said gratefully, "Little brother, thank you for your help." Long Fei laughed and said, "I'm fine." He did not save Luo Heights, he just felt unhappy in his heart, and thought about the scene at the tower question of God. Filthy man revealed his yellow teeth and laughed, "Big brother, I think you're quite strong. Why don't you join our Sky Tyrant team?" Chapter 1658, Beauty Attraction. Chapter 1658, Beauty Attraction. Filthy man looked at Long Fei with his eyes that seemed as vulgar as possible. He then told Long Fei with his eyes, "Come, big brother, I'll prepare my chrysanthemum flower for you at any time." Long Fei secretly thought. Luo Dongcheng squeezed filthy man to the side and said, "He is a member of my Luo Heights. Do you dare to steal my people here?" "Huh?" Long Fei was startled. "When did you become a member of the Luo Heights?" The filthy man chuckled. "Master Luo, stop boasting. Do you know that I don't understand your Luo Heights? He has nothing to do with your Luo Heights. What's more, even if he's from your Luo Heights, so what if I invite him to join my heavenly tyrant mercenary squadron?" Luo Dongcheng also had an angry look on his face as he said, "Your Sky Tyrant mercenary group? Even a bunch of skin shrimps would not dare to come out in front of Gang of Heroes." At this time, he couldn't care less about giving them face. Luo Dongcheng had already known in his heart that they were hiding in the dark because they were afraid of the Gang of Heroes. Right now, he only wanted Long Fei to stay. The power that Long Fei had exploded out was too strong. If Luo Heights could keep Long Fei alive, then Luo Heights' strength would be very strong. The filthy man did not mind what Luo Dongcheng said, and laughed. Camel Manor Lord, if you offend the gang of heroes now, you will only wait for death in your Luo Heights. How about this? All of you Luo Heights, join my heavenly tyrant team. Without waiting for filthy man to finish speaking, Luo Dongcheng immediately said, Pa, Pooey, Pooey. Stop spitting. Take a look at my new boots. Filthy man revealed a pained expression. Suddenly, filthy man grabbed at Long Fei's hand. Long Fei's reaction was extremely fast, and practically the instant filthy man made his move, he withdrew his hand. His reaction was fast. Filthy man was startled. The expressions of the four people nearby also changed slightly. What a fast reaction. Filthy man didn't care at all. He pounced and hugged onto Long Fei's thighs, and said, Hero, brave warrior, fierce man, come with me. Sigh. It's this move again. Captain, don't you know any other moves? The other team members could not bear to watch any longer. They all turned their heads to the other side, feeling extremely humiliated. However, clearly, they had also been asked to join the Heavenly Tyrant team. Luo Dongcheng's eyes trembled, he was stunned for half a second, and said, How can you be so shameless? I've already said that he's a member of my Luo Heights. If you dare touch him again, I won't be polite anymore. Luo Dongcheng also did not expect the filthy man to use this move. Isn't it too shameless? The filthy man ignored him completely and said, If you don't promise me, I won't get up. I'll be hanging on your thigh forever. While they were talking, his two eyes looked at Long Fei with a strange light in his eyes. Adding on his split hair and his wretched appearance, Long Fei took a quick glance at him. Oh, my, your eyes are really stinging. The team members behind Filthy Man acted as if they didn't know him at all. In God's martial continent, in Chaos Realm, Long Fei made many friends, brothers, followed beside him until it was over. In the ancient holy battlefield, his path, he was alone. I don't want to be the same again. Because, in Long Fei's heart, he was the bane of all. The people around him were always in danger, so he had to walk the path of this world alone. Long Fei's eyes turned cold, and he said, Let go, I will not join your team. Same thing. Long Fei looked at Luo Dongcheng and said, I will also not join the Luo Heights. Her voice was a little cold, with a deep sense of loneliness. Filthy Man looked at Long Fei and said, You fierce man, are you trying to force my enlargement stroke? Ah! Like a flower, Filthy Man shouted, and one of the four members looked at her with a cold gaze, a little unwilling. However, he still walked forward slowly, until he was in front of Long Fei and took off his cape, revealing a very pure face. It couldn't be considered a peerless beauty. However, she was still a beauty above average, at least at the level of 85 points. Seduction of a beauty? Filthy Man said, Tough man, our team has benefits. As long as you agree to join my team, I will betroth my sister to you. Huh? Captain, what do you mean? Suddenly, the other three members rushed up one after another as if they were going to explode. Didn't you give the flower to me? T, it's a betrothal gift. You are all latecomers. I was the first one the captain agreed to, and it's mine like this. The trio's faces and necks were red. All of them were enraged. Filthy Man was surprised, he thought in his heart, Aya, I messed with you. However, right now, he couldn't care so much. The cultivation base Long Fei had displayed was too strong. If he joined, then the mercenaries fighting would probably be able to obtain a good result and enter the top 50 rankings. Still entering the top 20, Filthy Man was overjoyed in his heart, and said, Tough guy, my sister Xueling, as long as you agree to join Team Sky Tyrant, he will. Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Long Fei directly said, Not interested. A single kill. Moreover, in that instant, Long Fei unleashed the dragon step of great perfection. Instantly, he pulled out his leg and flew 10 meters away from the other party. It was a miraculous speed. It had to be known that this was the ancient holy battlefield, not the Chaos Realm. Long Fei's cultivation was only at the semi-realistic realm, which was equivalent to the lowest realm. But his speed. Even Long Fei himself was shocked. He was extremely excited. The steps of the great complete realm is truly strong. Isn't that too awesome? As expected. Abnormal energy is much better than berserk energy. I like that abnormal feeling. Indeed. The dragon step was just the most ordinary step for the Devil Island. Most of the disciples in the gang of heroes had already cultivated it. It was the step of a rotten street. However, the transformation of abnormal energy directly reached an unprecedented level of perfection. In an instant, he became intrepid. Filthy Man was stunned, looking at Long Fei, who was more than 10 meters away. He was unable to react. What is that pace? Yu Hua was also shocked. Luo Dongcheng, the entire Luo Heights was also shocked. One of them said, "It's a bit like the Gang of Heroes' Dragon Step." Bullshit. Gang of Heroes' Dragon Step is like this? Wow. Awesome, I'll be depending on you for the rest of my life. Filthy Man's eyes lit up, and immediately ran to Long Fei's side like a hungry wolf pouncing on its prey. Long Fei wanted to use Dragon Step to dodge, but he realized that he no longer had any holy power value. The Filthy Man hugged his thigh again. This time it was even tighter. Filthy Man said, "Ferocious man, just listen to me." Chapter 1659, Level H Mission. Chapter 1659, Level H Mission. He had seen shameless people, but he had never seen such a shameless person. That expression, that tone, was just like a board from the Spring Festival. Moreover, she was in her 50s or 60s, and her body was fat. Anyone who saw her would want to ruthlessly kick her a few times. Long Fei was the same. But, just as he was about to kick down, a system be prepared. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for triggering the quest. Accept the team invitation. Task: accept the invitation. Level H. Reward 100 experience points, 10 god power points. Description: cannot be rejected. System: are you a retard? Even if you are brain damaged, you can't bring me along. Long Fei was truly infuriated. There were no other problems with this mission, but there was one thing that made Long Fei extremely unhappy, and he couldn't be refused. What was this called? Forcefully kidnap him. Too bad. Sigh. Long Fei let out a long sigh, and said, "The mosquito leg is also meat. Accept." "Alright, I'll agree, but on one condition." Long Fei was helpless. He could not understand why the system would suddenly ask him to get together with such a filthy man battle team. What was hidden? There must be a reason. The system would not give out such a quest for no reason. When Filthy Man heard Long Fei nod in agreement, he was so moved that he almost cried. He immediately said, "Let alone a single condition, even if there were 100, 10,000 wouldn't be a problem." Long Fei said, "Stay away from me." 3 meters away, Filthy Man lifted his hair to reveal his yellow teeth as he giggled and said, "No problem." However, he didn't immediately let go, instead asking, "Fierce Man, you won't run away, right?" He was worried. After all, this was the Devil Island. Reputation is shit here. Long Fei said, "I will keep my word." The system quest had already been completed, so what could he do? Filthy Man immediately stood up and carefully retreated, afraid that Long Fei would suddenly fly away, so he maintained a very careful posture. Luo Dongcheng, however, stepped forward and said, "Young hero, they are just a bunch of scammers." "What heaven tyrant mercenaries? They're just a bunch of scumbags and liars. It's such a waste for you to follow them. I have a friend in the Evil Gods sect. I can recommend you to the Evil Gods sect. It's definitely better than following them," Luo Dongcheng said. He wanted to fight for it one last time. The power that Long Fei had displayed was truly strong. If he could stay in Luo Heights, he would not have to worry about him. Long Fei said, "I've already promised him, I'm sorry." Luo Dongcheng let out a long sigh, and said. Filthy Man raised up his hair on the other side, looking extremely pleased. He said, "Now he's a member of my Sky Tyrant battle group. If you scam me again, Master Luo, I won't be polite to you anymore." Both of Luo Dongcheng's eyes shook as he shouted, Why don't you try and see for yourself? Very powerful. The filthy man immediately shriveled up and said, I was just saying. Don't get angry, don't get angry. And then the other 3 members walked over and said, Li Rutsao, explain to us clearly, who exactly did you betroth flower-like to? Yes. Say it clearly. If you are unable to explain yourself today, then I will leave the group. All of them were vicious. However, filthy man Li Rutsao hooked his arm around their shoulders and brought them to the side while muttering a bunch of conspiracy plans. After half a minute, the 4 of them started laughing out loud together. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Captain, you said it yourself. Captain, don't worry. I definitely won't leave the group. Ha ha ha. All right. It took only half a minute to resolve the dispute. Long Fei didn't know what method he used, but the filthy man in front of him was extraordinary. However, his sister Li Ruhua, however, had a face full of anger. Following that, Li Rutsao said, Man Meng, let's go. Today, we'll find a large restaurant to help you wash the dust and celebrate our Sky Tyrant battle team's glorious future. He walked to Long Fei's side and whispered, Tough guy, you just entered the ancient holy battlefield, right? Long Fei was startled. Even though no one else could see it, he could. Li Rutsao continued, It's very strange, you don't have any special divine power on you. Could it be that you entered here from the divinity's plane? But that's not right, your cultivation is only at semi-realistic realm, you cannot reach the standard to enter ancient holy battlefield in this divinity. For a moment, he didn't understand either. However, he knew one thing, Long Fei was special and powerful. It was enough to know that. 4 hours later. Yama City. This is one of the top 10 cities in Devil Island. The reason he was called the King of Hell was because this was Devil Island's first city to the east. A fiend like the King of Hell. Upon stepping into the city, Long Fei saw that the scene inside was similar to that of the ordinary world, with nothing special about it. However, it gave Long Fei a strange feeling, as though countless eyes were staring at him. Li Rutsao said, It's good that you're used to it, it's been a while since anyone new appears in Devil Island, I will naturally take a closer look at your new face, but you do not have any divine energy undulations on your body, it's good for you. Because the lack of god power signified that Long Fei was a muggle. We're here. Not long after, Li Rutsao stopped at a place called Restaurant, blocking the road, and said, Big brother, you can order whatever you want. Long Fei's eyes darkened, he laughed bitterly, This is the legendary restaurant. Just then, one of the employees walked up, laughing and saying, Mally boy, did you trick a new member again? With just 6 people, wouldn't you be able to register to participate in the Mercenary Guild's mercenary exam? As soon as he finished, many customers in the surrounding area laughed out loud. Their laughter was filled with mockery. Wow, your Sky Tyrant team is going to defy the heavens this time. Ha ha ha. We've finally gathered 6 people. How many years has it been? Slow guy, you found this muggle from that ravine. As long as you all are participating in the Mercenary Guild's assessment, I think you all are participants in the cannon fodder war. Ha ha ha. Li Rutsao turned a deaf ear to the mockery coming from around him and said with a face full of laughter, Just wait and see this year when Sky Tyrant Guild will cause a sensation in the entire ancient holy battlefield. As soon as he finished, the crowd burst into laughter. No one took it to heart. No one looked down on Li Rutsao. Long Fei's gaze was ice-cold, without a single ripple. She asked softly, This is the Devil Island, then how far is this place from the nearest battlefield? As soon as he finished, all the customers in the food stall were silent. 3 seconds later. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Brat, you think you can go to the battlefield? Are you dreaming? Do you want to die? Do you want to die? A mocking laugh. It was even more intense than mocking at Li Rutsao's participation in the mercenary group. It was as if he had heard a great joke. Long Fei was a little confused. The 3 members of the Sky Tyrant battle team all had displeased looks on their faces as they muttered to each other, You've completely lost face. Exactly. Do you know what this place is? Li Rutsao began to shiver, then said, A fierce man, A dream that is not mocked by others, that is not a dream. What do you mean? Why is entering the battlefield a dream? Long Fei was a little confused. He had come to the ancient holy battlefield to change the laws of plane and overturn the destiny god. It was said that the ancient holy battlefield was the only place that changed the rules, and now that he had come, he didn't know where the battlefield was. He didn't know that if he were to change the laws, Long Fei was like a headless fly. Li Ruhua said in a low voice, "This is the Devil Island, a land of exile, and also a land of divine abandonment. No one can walk out here, and even more no one can enter the battlefield. We are all abandoned by God. This is hell, but it's also heaven. In the future, those who enter the battlefield will be mocked by others." Li Ruhua said softly. Everyone who entered the ancient holy battlefield held dreams of changing the world, and it was the same for the people on the Devil Island. However, dreams were beautiful, and reality was cruel. There was not a single person in the Devil Island's records who could walk out. Furthermore, no one could cross the endless sea and enter the interior. Here. This was the forsaken Godland. There are no rules here. This was hell, and also heaven. Long Fei's heart tensed up, he involuntarily clenched his fists, the spirit chi on his body continued to burst forth, forming a powerful spirit chi. His killing intent exploded. The anger in his heart raged for 1,000 feet. "Destiny God, I will control your ancestors. No doubt about it." This was the destiny God deliberately bringing him to such a damned place, to let him never have a chance to rise again. At this time, the bowls and chopsticks on the table began to tremble, and the air in the food stall began to become turbulent. Countless tables began to shake as if there was an earthquake. Everyone was shocked. What's going on? Damn, what's going on? Was there an earthquake? Many people were panicking. They did not know that this was the intense undulation caused by the chi from Long Fei's body. The fury on his body interweaved with his killing intent and formed a violent vibration. It was also not far away. Sand and dust flew everywhere, and chickens flew and dogs jumped. Black Knight's warrior. It's the Black Knight's warrior. Oh my God, what's behind them? Earth Bear King. Boom, boom. At the same time, Li Rutsao pressed a hand on Long Fei's fist. He looked at Long Fei and shook his head lightly, then said softly, "Fierce man." In that instant, a bizarre force spread out from Li Rutsao's hand. Long Fei's heart inexplicably calmed down, as if a wave of tranquil mind energy had spread throughout his entire body. This kind of feeling was very special. Indeed, Li Rutsao was not an ordinary person. As the aura on Long Fei's body receded, the trembling in the food stall also disappeared. Now, however, no one was concerned about the shock at the roadside stall. Everyone was looking at the Black Knight's warrior who was charging in recklessly from the city gate. No one resented their ruthlessness, there was only reverence. Because they are the Black Knight's warrior, one of the top battle squads in the Yama city. It's really the Earth Bear King, they really killed him. How amazing. If only I could also join the Black Knight's warrior. You don't daydream. Just the fact that you have to join the Black Knight's warrior is already shockingly high, so ordinary people shouldn't even think about it. Many people walked to the sides of the streets to admire the Black Knight's warrior. It was the same for the 3 members of Team Sky Tyrant. However, Li Rutsao was very calm, there were no ripples in his eyes, his gaze was deep and profound, making others look up at him, unable to reach him. Li Ruhua was the same. However, her eyes were not calm, but they held traces of fear. Their bodies trembled slightly. The 2 siblings' reactions were completely opposite from each other. Bang, bang, bang. The man with the black iron mask, who was in the lead of the Black Knight's warrior, suddenly stopped. He looked at the food stall and sneered, "Quickly, look who it is." All the members of the Knights of Darkness Guild stopped in their tracks and looked in the direction of his gaze. "Humph. Is that a human? Why do I look like a dog? Ha ha ha. Let's go meet our friends." The man sat in front of a fully armored demon beast and looked at Li Rutsao's back. He sneered and said, "Li Ruchao. Not Li Rutsao, but Li Ruchao. He knows our captain. Wow, our captain is that amazing." The 3 team members were shocked. He immediately walked to the leader of the Black Knight's warrior and bowed as he said, "Master, our captain's name is Li Rutsao." Li Rutsao? The leader of the Knights of Darkness Guild was startled, and then laughed out loud. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. He really is like a blade of grass, and his life is as cheap as grass. The 3 team members were stunned. The situation didn't seem quite right. The leader of the Knights of Darkness Guild moved slightly, the demon beast took a step forward, and the demon beast's breath landed on Li Rutsao's back. His breath was like flames. Li Rutsao did not move, and said indifferently, "Master, you seem to have recognized the wrong person." Ha ha ha. You don't even dare to admit your own name, Iron Mask Knight sneered, then looked at Li Ruhua, his eyes twitching slightly. Li Ruhua's body trembled even more violently. It was as if she knew that the Iron Mask Knight behind her was staring at her. Iron Mask Knight looked at the symbol on the chest of his 3 team members and sneered, "Yo, you actually registered a mercenary group, why? You still want to go against us Dark Knights? Do you want to kill all of us Dark Knights? Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha." The surrounding people all began to laugh. How high and mighty was the Black Knight's warrior? Unparalleled. Li Rutsao's team was just a low-leveled team, they didn't even have the qualifications to compete with the Black Knight's warrior. He could tell that they were mocking the Sky Tyrant battle team. The 3 of them had ugly expressions on their faces. Their hearts were filled with regret for joining the Sky Tyrant battle team. At this time, Long Fei slightly turned around and looked at Iron Mask Knight, and said, "This person who doesn't even dare to show his face, please do not disturb us eating. If you want to eat bones, I will throw him on the ground later." Li Rutsao's gaze tensed up. In that instant, Iron Mask Knight's eyes turned sinister, his killing intent became sinister in an instant, and the surrounding temperature plummeted. Many people couldn't help but retreat from this cold aura. The Iron Mask Knight stared at Long Fei coldly and said, "Do you want to die?" Chapter 1661, Being Even More Savage Than Demon Beast. Chapter 1661, Being Even More Savage Than Demon Beast. One sentence. The killing intent was dense. It instantly crushed everything around it. No one dared to make a sound, and even the breathing of many people was very light. However, Long Fei's eyes slightly raised, stared at Iron Mask Knight and coldly said, "Do you want to die?" The same words. It was just as cold. But, however, the killing intent in his voice was even stronger than Long Fei's. Iron Mask Knight's gaze tensed up. The eyes of the mount beneath him burned with anger, and its breath immediately turned into flames as its 2 eyes stared straight at Long Fei. As long as its master gave the order, it would immediately rush over and tear Long Fei apart. The entire street suddenly became silent. Although no voice came out, their hearts were saying, "Is this person crazy? Someone who dares to speak to Black Knight's warrior like that must be a madman. I'm tired of living. I'm afraid this newbie will be joining soon. You're courting death. No one has ever dared to speak to me like that." The Iron Mask Knight looked at Long Fei, and the demon beast beneath him started to stir, staring at Long Fei fiercely. Iron Mask Knight said, "You are the first. So, you must die." As soon as he finished, Iron Mask Knight's body became light as he said faintly, "Here's your dinner for today." Roar. A roar. Streak after streak of sound waves, visible to the naked eye, shot out towards Long Fei. At such a close distance. An instant burst of power, as though it was hard to resist. Li Rutsao's gaze tensed up, he took a step forward, wanting to stop the demon beast, but Long Fei was 1 step ahead of him. She glared and her eyes became bloodshot as she roared at the demon beast, "Scram to the side." Roar. Boom. The killing intent that burst out from Long Fei's body formed a strong vibration. Her eyes glowered. His entire body was emitting an exceptionally vicious and ruthless aura. His entire being was like a fiendish demon. The demon beast immediately withered, and revealed a look of fear in its eyes. The savage chi that rushed to Long Fei's side immediately disappeared, and it started growling softly, not daring to look at Long Fei. "Scram!" Long Fei shouted out again. The demon beast seemed to have received an amnesty and frantically escaped. The aura Long Fei was releasing was simply too terrifying for him. Demon beast were extremely savage existences. They were full of primitive beasts, rampaging and arrogant. Even a top-grade beast mastery would need a lot of energy to conquer a demon beast. To be able to scare a ferocious demon beast like a mouse seeing a cat, no one had ever seen something like this. If one wasn't ruthless, one wouldn't be able to stand steadily. If he wanted to intimidate the demon beast, then he had to be even more ferocious and completely crush it with his imposing manner. Long Fei's cultivation was not high, but the anger he emitted was much stronger than the demon beast, so it was able to crush it. Everyone was shocked. Iron Mask Knight's eyes turned sinister as he clenched his fists so tightly that cracking sounds could be heard. The members of the Black Knight's regiment beside him all stared at Long Fei with killing intent. Just wanted to eat Long Fei up. Iron Mask Knight said coldly, "You will die, definitely." As soon as he finished, Iron Mask Knight punched out with sound waves. The fist wind carried a powerful force. It was extremely sharp, with a dense amount of god power. But Long Fei was not afraid. He'd never been afraid of anyone when it came to brute force. It was just that. Just as he was about to use the dragon step, a figure blocked his path ahead. The same fist wind, the same attack. Chapter 1662, Li Ruhua. Chapter 1662, Li Ruhua Rumble. As the two forces collided, a dull sound rang out. Iron Mask Knight was forced to retreat continuously. The chi and blood below his chest was rolling. Only then was he able to endure, and he was about to spurt out blood. Li Rutsao stood in place without moving, and coldly said, "Steel Mask, is that enough?" He called her by her name. The surrounding members of Black Knight's warrior all had gloomy expressions. "Li Ruchao, you must be tired of living. Do you want to die, fighting against Big Brother Iron Face? Kill him." Everyone was infuriated. The Iron Mask Knight raised his hand and stopped them. He stared at Li Ruchao and said coldly, "Li Ruchao, I heard that you are preparing to participate in the mercenary group test. I will be waiting for you there. I will crush you. I will crush your entire battle formation. I will let you know the consequences of going against the Dark Knights." As soon as he finished, Iron Mask Knight stared straight at Li Rutsao, and then shot an ice-cold look at Long Fei. Pointing at Long Fei's nose, he said, "Kid, I'll remember you." Finished. He turned around and left in large strides. Under his robes, a hand gripped his chest, and his face paled. "Big brother, why didn't you make a move?" "That's right. There are so many of us, so why would we be afraid of him?" "Big brother." Iron Face did not explain any further. His gaze darkened as he said, "Return to the residence." After the Knights of Darkness Guild all left, Li Rutsao, who was standing still on the spot, suddenly paled. Blood flowed out of the corner of his mouth and his body staggered, as though he was about to fall down. Li Ruhua quickly supported him and said, "Brother." Li Rutsao waved his hand and said, "I'm fine." In the previous clash of forces, the internal injuries he had suffered were much more than the Iron Mask. He had been forced to stand in place, and he had been unable to release his internal energy as he wished. "Damn. I thought you were stronger than the Iron Mask of the Black Knight's warrior. So it was just an act." TSK. Everyone burst out in laughter. At this moment, the three team members said, "Captain, we still want to live a few more years." "I'm sorry." Finished. Without looking back, the three of them ran into the crowd. Li Rutsao couldn't even stop her if she wanted to. She just wanted to shout out, "Wah!" A large mouthful of blood sprayed out. His face became even paler. Li Ruhua's tears started dripping down his face. "Brother, brother." Long Fei looked at the three people who had disappeared into the crowd and said lightly, "If they're gone, then they're gone. There's no use in keeping these kind of people. How could such a team member fight together? Better off." Li Rutsao revealed a bitter smile and said, "It is indeed useless, but if they leave, our Sky Tyrant Guild will disband." After 3 consecutive years of not being able to participate in the mercenary group's assessment, this year would be the last year. If they still could not participate, Then this group would be ranked as unqualified, and it would be cancelled. This was Li Rucao's hard work. However, it's going to be broken now. Li Rucao looked at Long Fei and said, "Big brother, you should leave as well. The further away from the Yama city, the better. They won't let you go." When the three of them left, coupled with the fact that they offended Black Knight's warrior, there was probably no reason for anyone to join his team. The team was bound to be disbanded, so it would be safer to let Long Fei leave as soon as possible. Long Fei said, "Since I have made my choice, I will not leave." At least for now, he wouldn't leave. He had to figure out how he was going to leave this place and enter the battlefield. Everyone said that the ancient holy battlefield was a place that changed the laws of the world. How was he going to change it? Conquer everything? Dominate the entire ancient holy battlefield, or something? Right now, Long Fei had no leads. Midnight. Li Ruhua walked into the courtyard in a hurry, the corners of his mouth turning red as though he had been beaten. Long Fei asked, "What's wrong?" Li Ruhua took the spiritual medicine and said, "I'm fine." He entered the room and carefully gave the spirit medicine to Li Ruchao to eat. Li Ruchao's internal injuries were extremely severe, and this little bit of spirit medicine was unable to cure them at all. Long Fei opened the system merchant shop. He realized that the merchant shop was empty, devoid of anything. As the system was upgraded, many things disappeared. The system had also become more concise. Even Long Fei's points were all gone, even the spirit pellets on the Chaos Realm were useless, they simply could not save Li Ruchao. Long Fei was secretly anxious. At this moment, bam! The courtyard door was kicked open with the back of a foot. The two doors flew into the yard with a bang. "Humph! You dare to steal from our blue spirit pavilion? You're courting death. Get the hell out here." A few big men rushed into the yard. Li Ruchao looked at his sister and said, "Are you Hua, you?" Li Ruhua said, "As long as I can save you, I don't care what I do." As he spoke, Li Ruhua was about to leave the room. However, it was stopped by Long Fei's hand, and he lightly said, "Leave the matters outside to me." Long Fei walked out of the room and into the courtyard where he looked at the few burly men holding torches and said, "I stole the medicine, just come and get me if you have anything you need." Humph. A hero saving a beauty, right? Kid, since you're willing to bear the consequences, then you should know. An elder in his 50s said angrily, "To steal from my blue spirit pavilion, you must have cut off your hand. If you did, you must have cut off both of your hands." Instantly, the big-sized man surrounded Long Fei. He brandished his large blade. The broadsword glinted with a cold light. Long Fei slightly smiled. Everyone says that there are no rules in the Devil Island, and the only rule is power. The old man sneered. "What? Do you still want to resist?" Long Fei said, "I don't want to resist, but I want to make a deal with you." The old man shivered. "What kind of deal?" Long Fei asked, "How much is your life worth?" "Kid, what do you mean?" The old man was enraged. Long Fei said, "First let me ascertain how much your life is worth. Is it worth the spirit medicine money that was stolen just now? If it's worth it, then let's talk about the deal." The old man didn't find Long Fei to make any deals, and said with a slight smile, "I'm in charge of Blue Spirit Pavilion, my life is worth at least 1,000 pieces of golden leaves, so naturally, it's much more expensive than that medicinal herb." "Very good. 1,000 gold leaves, right? I'll consider it the price of a portion of spiritual medicine." Long Fei grinned, then said, "You guys can go, this deal is complete." The ancestor glared at him and said, "Kid, are you messing with me?" Long Fei sneered, "Not really. Just now, if I had acted, you would already be dead. I just spared your life, the transaction would have been completed." Ha ha ha. The surrounding burly man laughed out loud. "You dog, I just spared your 10 lives, how are we going to settle this debt?" As soon as he finished, Long Fei moved, blasting fists. A punch was thrown out. Chapter 1663 Objectives, Gang of Heroes. Chapter 1663 Objectives, Gang of Heroes. The speed was too fast. There was no way to block it. In that instant, A muffled sound rang out. The man who spoke flew out of the courtyard, not even letting out a scream. However, Long Fei was 100% sure that he was dead. The system sounded out. Long Fei said coldly, "Don't provoke this daddy into a rage." The faces of the surrounding men changed. They were scared to the point that they paled and their bodies couldn't help but tremble. The speed at which they were moving was something they had never seen before. One of the disciples ran back and said, "Boss, you're dead." As soon as he finished, everyone was shocked. Long Fei smiled blandly, "I've said it before, I spared your life. Do not ever let me make a move again, if not, you will disappear from this world." Explosive punch. Cooldown every 24 hours. Exactly 24 hours had passed. Long Fei killed him with a punch, showing no mercy. He had to say it. The blasting fist was in a complete mess. The old man's face darkened, he stared at Long Fei and said, "I admit defeat today, brat. If we, Qingshan, do not change the flow of green water, next time you won't be so lucky." Immediately, the elder growled, "Let's go." He escaped like a swarm of bees. Long Fei's heart relaxed a little. If they were really going to fight head-on, he would not be their opponent, and with his current cultivation level, he could deal with 1 or 2 one-star experts, but no matter how many there were, he would definitely not be a match for them. The level was too low. His strength was unable to keep up, especially his holy power value. He could only use Dragon Step once, it was too lacking. No way. If this goes on, it'll be hard to get into a mess. I have to think of a way to level up as soon as possible, and also obtain an abnormal amount of points. The only way to become stronger quickly was to upgrade the system. This was the fastest shortcut. Moreover, the same goes for the metamorphic energy value. They had to kill people before they could accumulate enough strength. Long Fei's top priority was to level up. Once a day's worth of blasting fist could not resolve the crisis, it could only enjoy itself once a day. Once its weakness was discovered, it would not be possible to scare it. Following that, Long Fei walked into the room, took out the divine spirit pellet that burst out from Lord Chen's body, and said, "I only have this one thing on me, it should be a bit useful." "Wait for me for a few days." Li Ruhua asked, "Where are you going?" Li Rutsao's lips turned white, and she said indifferently, "Let's go, don't come back anymore." Long Fei smiled and said, "Wait for me. Are you Hua? Stop stealing things. Sell this divine spirit pill tomorrow and buy some more spirit medicine for your brother. I'll be back in at most 3 months or at least half a month." Long Fei said, "I don't know why." These two siblings made Long Fei think of his family members around him. They depend on each other. In order to save her brother, her little sister had risked her life to steal it. Clearly, this was not the first place in the Blue Spirit Pavilion. Even so, she didn't give up. She still stole it because she wanted to save her brother. And Li Ruchao had definitely once had a strong relationship with the Black Knights Guild, probably because of his younger sister. And then again, they must have a mission on them. A special task. Long Fei firmly believed in this. Half an hour later, Long Fei stepped out of the city gate and muttered, "Where are we going to level up?" "Gang of Heroes. Luo Heights. It shouldn't be too far away." Long Fei thought about the few large mountain ranges on the road from Luo Heights to Yama City. Gang of Heroes should be within them. Just knock over the Gang of Heroes. Chapter 1664 Wow, this boss is awesome. Chapter 1664 Wow, this boss is awesome. The sky was dark and Long Fei stepped into the unknown depths of the mountains. Long Fei continued to advance. After an hour, they had already entered the depths of the forest. At this time, the sky was already beginning to brighten. Roar. Suddenly, with a low roar, a wind wolf suddenly flew out from the bushes and pounced towards Long Fei. Long Fei's reaction was fast. He avoided the sneak attack with the wind under his feet. "Cheap shot, your father will give my life." A punch flew out. The wind wolf was a type of fast wolf. Its speed was extremely fast. When there was someone that was even faster than it, its advantage would be lost. Dragon Step Great Perfection Stage. Whether it was speed, identity, or moving trajectory, He had completely crushed the wind wolf. Boom, boom, boom. After a minute, the HP of the wind wolf finally reached its limit. It let out a wail and fell into the pool of blood. It died. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Wind Wolf for obtaining 150 experience, 15 holy power value, 1 energy values. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, 1-star god. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. The reward is blood drop. Do you want to receive it? Several system beeps sounded in succession. Long Fei could feel a power growing within his body, and he could clearly feel that his strength had changed. After leveling up, his holy power value recovered, his health point recovered. Looking at the leveling reward again, killed in the formless blood droplets. Receive. The drop of blood appeared among Long Fei's space ring. It looked like an iron hat, but if this thing were to cover a person's head and pull, their heads would explode at any moment, appearing exceptionally fierce. Amongst the weapons, the blood droplets were extremely savage. The most important thing was, there were no weapons like blood drop in this world. Not only could it be used as a secret weapon, but it could also be used as a weapon. Huff. Long Fei exhaled and said faintly, no matter where, I will definitely break through. Destiny God, I will definitely make you die without a complete corpse. Long Fei rushed into the mountain forest. Boom. Whoosh. An afterimage flew out, and with a whoosh sound, the drop of blood in Long Fei's hand suddenly covered the demon beast's head, and he fiercely pulled. Crash. The sound of an explosion. The demon beast's head was immediately sliced off. Blood splattered all over the ground. Boom. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing. Continue. As long as there were demon beasts, one would have experience and level up. This was the abnormal part of the system. Right now, what Long Fei needed was to quickly level up. 3 days later. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, 2-star god. Continue. Hoo. Long Fei panted slightly, his body was covered in blood, and surrounding him were the corpses of demon beasts. He had expended a little of his energy, so 3 days and 3 nights worth of rest were less than 3 hours. Long Fei did not think of stopping, and continued moving forward, heading deeper into the mountain forest. Now that I have 100 points, I have to think of a way to give it a try. These 3 days. Long Fei had killed a lot of demon beast, but none of them had dropped anything, it was all experience and holy power value. He could not release the blood droplet into his hand, or else he would evolve it. However, in the past 3 days, he had killed a few of the lowest level demon beast. It was too hard to get anything out of these demon beast. We need to find a boss, Long Fei muttered. Another 2 days passed. Long Fei's experience had increased yet again, but he still did not manage to find any demon beast that could drop anything. Other than an increase in his experience, he had completely mastered the use of Dragon Step. At dusk, Long Fei walked to a stream and removed the internal organs of a wild deer to clean it. Then he walked back to the cave and built a fire to roast it. Not long after, the burning incense filled the air. Long Fei tore off a piece of grilled meat and slowly chewed it, thinking, it would be great if I could have a map of the ancient holy battlefield. At least I know where I am. He's at the position of the battlefield. He still hadn't learned how to change the laws of the world. Both planes. Why can this place change the laws of the world? Unknowingly, Long Fei fell into a deep sleep while leaning on the wall. In his dream, he saw Jojo. He met Nangong Yang. He met a disciple of the Long family. Meeting those dragon ancestors. Their souls felt as though they were living in a prison of the 18th layer of hell. It was incomparably painful and torturous. Suddenly, a roar pierced the night sky. Long Fei suddenly woke up. He did not notice that the corner of his eyes had started to tear. He hated sleep now. When they slept, they would dream of Jojo and the others being tormented. Shua. Long Fei crawled out of the cave and quickly ran towards the source of the scream. Hold it back. Quick, delay it. Lei Ju, quickly do it. Bang, bang, bang. Bang! A few muffled sounds rang out, and the battle formation was disrupted. 3 heavily armored warriors were struck and sent flying, and a nearby woman holding a magic staff was instantly sent flying by an airflame, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Their equipment. It could only be described with one word. Deluxe. Warrior was heavy armor. The woman in the distance was like a priest. She continuously released a kind of power that superimposed onto the warrior's body, causing their defenses to become stronger. The staff in her hand was also extremely powerful. However, the demon beast they had to face was a little too ferocious. Even if it was 3 heavily armored warriors, they wouldn't be able to deal any strong damage to it. As the 4 of them were sent flying, the 3 heavily armored warriors quickly got up and encircled them once again. This won't do. This guy is too powerful. Our current cultivation is no match for him. Third bro, you withdraw first. The woman got up from the ground and said, "No, we have to kill this guy. We have to get the magic antler above his head." On top of the demon beast's head grew a magic antler. Just like a unicorn. However, it was not some unicorn, it was a special kind of spirit beast. This kind of magic antler had a strong medicinal effect, its energy. He could treat illnesses, and he could cultivate. The trio frowned. A warrior raised his big blade and rushed forward. "I will fight it out with him." Boom. His steps were like the wind, and his blade technique created a deep shadow. Layer upon layer. The other 2 warriors immediately shielded themselves as the warrior slashed down. However, a ray of light suddenly flashed out from the magic antler above the head of the demon beast. A ray of light suddenly appeared and penetrated into the void door, causing its body to suddenly disappear. In the darkness, Long Fei was extremely shocked. This boss is awesome. Chapter 1665, The Art of Spiritual Communication. Chapter 1665, The Art of Spiritual Communication. He's making a big move. Lei Ju, he's behind you. Too fast. It was so fast that it was creepy, so bizarre that it was completely unimaginable. The magic antler above the head of the demon beast suddenly unleashed its strength. With a flash of light, a line of void door appeared, and was directly teleported to the back of Lei Ju. You simply cannot imagine it. At this moment, boom. The demon beast's front paw slapped down heavily. It directly patted of Lei Ju's back. Phut! The heavy armor on Lei Ju's back cracked and he spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. "Ninth brother," the woman shouted, extremely worried. At this time, the demon beast suddenly stood up, looked down at Lei Ju who was on the ground condescendingly as it turned into a palm and smashed down. The staff in her hand released a ray of light, which wrapped around Lei Ju. The other 2 men followed suit. Crack! The defensive shield broke as the warriors on the left and right could not keep up. Lei Ju who was on the ground roared out, "Ah! Sister Ya, I'm sorry. He was going to die." This demon beast's strength far exceeded their expectations. The 4 of them together were not a match for it, and never in his wildest dreams would he have thought that this demon beast would actually be able to learn the spirit communication technique. In this situation, they had even less hope. "All of you, quickly leave. Hurry up." Lei Ju shouted loudly. "Lei Ju! Ninth brother! Lei Ju!" The 3 of them were sweating profusely, seeing the demon beast's front limbs coming down, their hearts sank, and they thought to themselves, "This is bad." In this situation, no one could save him. However, at the critical moment, a figure rushed out with a ghostly speed. In the time it took for a spark to fly, a fist struck out. The 4 of them were stunned. Their minds were filled with doubts. This kind of demon beast's defense was extremely strong, even the divine blades in their hands could not break through it, so the flesh fist was even more impossible. However, a strange scene happened. Blasting fist. Boom. With a loud shout, a fist struck down and in an instant, the demon beast was blasted away. It flew out a few hundred meters, and the large tree within a few hundred meters was shattered. It was a mess. It was a complete mess. As soon as the boss HP fell, it instantly died. Long Fei was secretly shocked in his heart. Damn, the blasting fist is awesome, Even the boss can be killed with a single punch, isn't this too sharp? Ha ha ha. The system sounded out, making Long Fei a little nervous. This was the first boss he had encountered in ancient holy battlefield. He was a little excited. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing giant heavenly deer for obtaining 50,000 experience, 5,000 holy power value, and 1 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining heavenly deer magic antler. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining spirit communication technique. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining heavenly deer's spirit blood. Do you wish to fuse it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining heavenly deer horn. The system sounded out continuously. At this moment, Long Fei stared at the spirit communication technique cultivation technique. Idea moved. Release your metamorphic energy value. Please choose. Spirit communication technique, void. Ding. Implantation of metamorphic energy value. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining spirit communication technique, virtual mirror. Ding. Do you wish to cultivate it? Cultivate. Long Fei could not wait. He had clearly seen the instant when Heavenly Deer had released his spirit communication technique. In an instant, it pierced through the void and appeared. If it was used in battle, it would be invincible. However, what was the virtual mirror that was injected with this abnormal energy? Long Fei quickly checked the attributes of the technique, and his entire body froze. Fuck. Do you have to be so abnormal? Do you have to be so abnormal? My darling. Heavenly Deer can only release 1 void door. I can release 10,000 void door. Teach this. Too abnormal. It had to be said that the abnormal attribute was simply too abnormal. It was already abnormal for his spirit communication technique to enter the void, but right now, it was magnified 10,000 times, directly becoming 10,000 void door. It was impossible to imagine where it would come from. Awesome. He was about to explode. Long Fei was extremely excited. It was also at this time. The system sounded out yet again. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, 3-star god. A great stroke. At this time, Lei Ju and the other 3 could not believe what they had just seen. This big guy was killed by a single punch. This. God. It must be a god. That's not right. His cultivation is just from the aura of a 3-star god. He doesn't have the aura of a god at all. The lady, Lan Ya, however, did not think too much and quickly ran over to the Heavenly Deer's side. She wanted the magic antler, so she could use it to save her father. Lei Ju crawled up from the ground. Looking at Long Fei, his eyes were filled with excitement and he said extremely emotionally, "Great God, thank you for saving my life." Long Fei waved his hand. "I'm not saving you, I just want to kill it. Just now is a perfect opportunity." Even so. However, Long Fei had indeed saved Lei Ju. Lei Ju also understood in his heart. One of the people beside him asked, "You are only a 3-star god, how could you kill that gigantic heavenly deer with a single punch and cultivate a magic antler? This is too unbelievable." Long Fei said indifferently, "I don't know, maybe it just happened to hit its fatal point. Even if he were to hit the death acupuncture point, a single punch would not be able to send a huge beast that weighed tens of thousands of jinn flying several hundred meters away. It was impossible for it to possess such powerful strength." They were not fools. However, he could tell that Long Fei did not want to say it. Lei Ju immediately added, "Great God is naturally extraordinary, no matter what, you are my savior, what is your name?" Long Fei waved his hand and said, "I was just passing by." And then, Long Fei replied, "If there's nothing else, I'll be leaving first." He had a cold look on his face. Lei Ju was even more respectful in his heart. At this moment, a few hundred meters away, Lan Ya let out a voice that was trembling a little. "The magic antler has disappeared." The magic antler had naturally disappeared. Because he had been exposed by Long Fei, how could it still be on Heavenly Deer's body? However, even if magic antler did not see him, her voice would not have been so shaky. Lei Ju's mind tightened, and immediately asked, Little sister YA, what's wrong? Heh heh. Heh heh. One of them was extremely tall and sturdy, fully 3 meters tall and fat like a giant. With one hand, he pinched Lan Ya's back and slowly walked out of the darkness, sneering sinisterly, hunting spirit beasts in my gang of heroes' territory, don't you know where this place is? As soon as he finished, the surrounding forest was densely packed with gang of heroes' disciples, surrounding Long Fei and the others. The giant bellowed, hand over the magic antler. Chapter 1666, Another Boss. Chapter 1666, Another Boss. Hand it over. Hand it over quickly. Many of the gang of heroes shouted in unison. Long Fei looked towards the direction of the voice, and his eyes flashed with a gold light. He swallowed his saliva and thought to himself, wow, another boss. His heart became restless. In the darkness, the big guy was glowing with a golden light, and the boss aura was especially strong. Couldn't help but become excited when he saw this. At this moment, a disciple of the gang of heroes recognized Long Fei the moment he saw him. He immediately walked to the side of the leader and said, Deputy Sect Master, it's him. He is the one who killed the Lord Chen. That's him. The big-sized guy stared at Long Fei and spoke sinisterly, to dare go against my gang of heroes, I'll see how you beat the floor beside the latrine, it's not too far from death. Lei Ju's eyes stared and shouted, gang of heroes? Humph. Even your sect master Yu Wanxiong has to show some respect towards me. Do you know who we are? If you dare to provoke us, let alone a small gang of heroes like you, even if it's this WN Xiong mountain, I will still flatten it. Lei Ju shouted with a strong aura. His family, the power backing him, was indeed able to instantly kill gang of heroes. Lei Ju looked at Lan Ya, his gaze tensed up as he said, you better release her right now, or else you won't be able to die even if you had 100 live. Humph. Threatening me? Do you think I'm a 3-year-old child? Is it that easy to cheat? The big-size man was not threatened. In his opinion, Lei Ju and the rest were just a mercenary group with a bit of power. Moreover, the temptation of Magic Antler S was just too great. He was truly on the verge of a breakthrough. If he had this Magic Antler's energy, he would definitely be able to break through his shackles. Lei Ju smiled slightly, threatening you? You don't qualify to be threatened by me. Do you know her surname? The big-sized man was startled. He looked at Lan Ya, who was in his hand, and said, what do I care about her surname? Her surname is Lan. Lei Ju shouted. The crowd was stunned. Many people from the gang of heroes began to whisper, Blue? What's blue? Could it be the Lan clan? Which one? Which one? The Lan clan that controls the Tianyang city? Ambushing gang, we. Tianyang city. There was no one in the Devil Island who did not know about it. The Lan clan was especially powerful. If she were to get angry, she could really easily kill the gang of heroes 10,000 times. In an instant. Lei Ju slightly said, if you know what's good for you, release him now. I'll let nothing happen in front of you. The big bloke's heart trembled, and his heart beat like a drum. If it really was the Lan clan, then things had really become unimaginable after that. After all, the Lan clan was an existence that they could not afford to offend. However, what if it wasn't? The big guy's eyes widened, and he shouted in a serious tone, are you trying to scare me? Why did the people of the Lan clan come here? You want to kill an ordinary spirit beast. Is it true? Brat, I have eaten more salt than you have, acting cool in front of me. Don't you know who I am? The fat on the big bloke's body shook, and he quickly spread out like a wave. You're right. If you say Lan clan, then it is Lan clan. Is Lousy still home? F***CK. Do you really take us for 3-year-olds? The deputy sect master is mighty, and you can tell at once that this kid is bragging. Ha ha ha. The big guy smiled and said, you want me to be more sensible? Now, you better be smart and hand over the magic antler to me, otherwise. His right arm suddenly exerted force, lifting Lan Ya up into the air. The large man revealed a lewd smile and said, don't blame me for ruthlessly destroying your flower, crushing her head, and also letting my brothers enjoy her corpse. It's really rare to see such a beautiful girl like her. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. The surrounding gang members all burst out laughing. Lei Ju was furious. She stared at the big-sized man and shouted, "You are playing with fire to burn yourself." Lan Ya shivered, her lips turning purple, unable to make a sound. For a priest like her, she would be unable to defend against him once she got close to him, let alone a super warrior like Big Ul. As he watched Lan Ya tremble and tremble, Lei Ju became even angrier. Clenching his fists tightly, his joints started to crack as he shouted heavily, "The gigantic sky deer's corpse is right there. There are no magic antler at all." The big guy sneered, "Do you think I'm an idiot? Can magic antlers disappear from the top of their heads? Little bastard, don't play any tricks on me. Be more honest and take it out, or else she will die soon." The big guy didn't believe it at all, and in his heart, he was even more sure that these people weren't from powerful families or mercenary teams. Otherwise, why would they hunt for spirit beasts? And you're still not willing to take out the magic antler? The value of magic antler was much higher than human life. However, Lei Ju truly did not have a magic antler, if not he would not hesitate at all. The two disciples beside him were also extremely anxious. If something really happened to Lan Ya, then they would not be able to live. But in this situation, they weren't a match for him at all. In addition to the serious injuries they had sustained, they were not their match. At this moment, Long Fei suddenly took a step forward, took out the magic antler that had exploded outwards, and said, "Let go of her, this magic antler is yours." Long Fei didn't have the time to check the magic antler's attributes. However, saving someone was near at hand, and he didn't have the time to care about that. Moreover, he had to clear this boss. Everyone was taken aback. Lei Ju's heart tightened. How did the magic antler get to him? Could it be that in the instant of one punch, he dug out the magic antler of Heavenly Deer? This speed is simply too unbelievable. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. You still dare to say that to me? You little bastards fooled lousy. Even if I say you're still very young, you guys are still too young. The big-sized guy laughed out loud, looking at the magic antler in Long Fei's hand. His face was filled with excitement. The fat on his body shook. Long Fei said again, "Let go of her. The magic antler is yours." The big-sized man let go of Lan Ya and left him. He smiled, "I do things with integrity, I will release him and throw the thing over." Everyone was in a circle, so he didn't have to worry. Lei Ju quickly ran over to support Lan Ya and said while looking at Long Fei, "You can't give the magic antler to him." The big bloke's eyes narrowed. Long Fei laughed indifferently, "As a human, I will always be honest. Let them leave. Playing tricks with me? Kid, you better consider whether or not you are qualified." The big guy was obviously angry. Long Fei clenched his fist and said, "Do you believe that I won't pinch it into powder?" The big bloke's face sank as he shouted, "Let them go." Long Fei glanced at Lei Ju and said, "You guys go." Lei Ju asked, "What about you?" Long Fei said angrily, "You just need to leave, don't worry about me." Lei Ju supported Lan Ya out of the encirclement. The big-sized guy stared at Long Fei and laughed sinisterly, "Brat, you're dead meat." Long Fei said word by word, then said, "Wrong, the one who will die for sure is you." Chapter 1667, Completed Filling of Abnormal Values. Chapter 1667, Completed Filling of Abnormal Values. As soon as he finished, the deputy sect master shouted, "How dare a mere 3-star god saint be so impudent in front of me? I want to see just how capable you are. Men, kill him, kill." The surrounding gang of heroes' disciples all rushed forward. A 3-star god tier warrior was very weak. Facing so many gang of heroes' disciples without any chance of winning, he was simply not their match. However, Long Fei did not leave. How could he leave? How could he not kill this boss? How could he not have so much experience? Right now, he needed a large amount of experience. No matter what kind of place the Devil Island was, as long as they were strong enough, as long as they had enough strength, there was nowhere for them to hide. He couldn't escape, it was just that he wasn't strong enough. Long Fei stood in place, the corners of his mouth slightly raised, as he gave a cold smile, like a god of death. Bring it on. Let me see what a perverted level of spirit communication technique looks like. Long Fei was sinister and terrifying. The idea moved. Spirit communication technique. Virtual mirror, open, buzz. There was a muffled sound in the air, and in the world that Long Fei saw with his eyes, there were 10,000 spatial doors. As long as he moved his idea, he could instantly pass through them. As expected. This feeling was as if he could teleport and teleport. Kill. Kid, you won't be able to escape even if you have wings today. Die. The gang of heroes' disciples rushed forward, all of their attacks striking Long Fei. However, just at this moment, Long Fei's figure disappeared from the spot. Bang, bang, bang. A burst of power boomed and dust flew in all directions. Where is he? What about the dog? Where's that brat? Where did you go? I didn't see it. The big-size man's eyes lit up, he could see everything clearly. Even the profound spirit chi on Long Fei disappeared in an instant. However, after this moment, crack, ah! A disciple of the gang of heroes screamed as his entire person was dragged into the darkness. He screamed continuously, as if he was dragged by an evil spirit into hell. Ah 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 ah. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing gang of heroes subordinate Luo for obtaining 150 experience, 15 holy power value, 1 energy values. Over there. That's him. Everyone rushed forward again. At their moment. Crack. Another person had been dragged into the darkness and killed in the blink of an eye. It was also in this instant that Long Fei's aura once again disappeared into the void. Now. Long Fei's virtual mirror was like a huge killing array. There was no way to dodge it. It was impossible to catch Long Fei's aura, let alone his figure. Ah! 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 Terrible cries rang out. People continued to fall. Blood flowed everywhere, and corpses littered the ground. It was as if Rosen had gone to hell. Ghost, he's a ghost. He isn't human at all. Too terrifying. A chill rose from the depths of his heart as he began to tremble. They did not know who would be the next to die. This feeling was too terrifying. Long Fei was overjoyed. That's what I feel. After Heavenly Deer's spirit communication technique was amplified, it simply exploded out, continuously killing them. The number of disciples in the surrounding gang of heroes became fewer and fewer, but Long Fei did not stop. His target was the boss. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing gang of heroes subordinate Luo for obtaining 150 experience, 15 holy power value, 1 energy values. Ding. System notification. Your metamorphic energy value has reached 100 point. It's your turn. Chapter 1668, See How Hard You Are. Chapter 1668, See How Hard You Are outside the mountain range. You too protect Lan Ya. I'll go back and help him. The more Lei Ju thought about it, the more powerless he became. If they were to escape and let Long Fei face the gang of heroes alone, could he still be considered a man? Long Fei saved them. Yet, they patted their butts and really left. What was this? The more he thought about it, the more upset he felt. Lan Ya grabbed Lei Ju and said, "Ninth brother, don't go back. That person is probably that kind of situation." Without even thinking, one could tell that Long Fei was in trouble. Lei Ju gently removed Lan Ya's hand and said, "Even if he dies, I will still carry his corpse back. You two take her back first." Finished. Lei Ju ran deeper into the mountains. No matter what, he owed Long Fei. If Long Fei died, he would use all the power he could muster to turn gang of heroes into ashes. Just when Lei Ju ran into the deep mountains. "Let's go together." "Damn it, it's just a mere gang of heroes. Do you think I'm afraid of him? I'm going all out. We cannot lose face for Tianyang City." Suddenly, the two of them followed along, and Lan Ya chased after them. Consecutive slashes for 100 people. The speed was unimaginably fast. Moreover, Long Fei's movements were extremely strange. It was simply impossible to discern her. It was extremely terrifying. He had never seen this kind of cultivation technique before. Vice sect leader, there's no way to deal with him. Let's go. One of them ran up to the vice sect master and asked to retreat. If he didn't, all of them would die here. This was not a joke. However, not waiting for him to finish, the big guy broke the head of that lackey, then kicked his body and shouted, "Whoever dares to say that in front of me, I, your father, will kill him. Just a mere 3-star God realm cultivator. Even if I have to use it up, I will use it up to kill him." He was unhappy. It was quite unpleasant. The big guy shouted in a deep voice, "Today, I will drink all your blood and swallow you up." Finished. Boom. With one step, the ground shook. With a body of 500 to 600 kilograms, he rushed towards Long Fei with a powerful body. Golden light radiated in all directions. Long Fei's expression slightly darkened, and said, "I'm just afraid that you won't come." Shua. Su Yun turned his body towards the void door and instantly landed behind the big-size man. In his hand, he held the mountain-splitting knife that was on the body of Gang of Heroes and slashed down. At this moment, the big bloke grinned and said, "You're too slow." His body suddenly turned and a fist came flying toward him. Voila! The strong wind howled, and the fist wind seemed to pierce into his body. Long Fei's eyes changed, and he reacted with a movement of the idea, dragon step. Shua. His steps were like the wind, narrowly avoiding the punch. He was only a tiny bit away from being heavily hit by the big guy. If he didn't die, he would at least be half dead. In terms of strength, cultivation level, Long Fei was unable to fight against the big-size man, and could only use the virtual mirror to fight with him. Just like how a mage could not get close to the warrior. Long Fei had a lot of experience in this kind of battle. He dodged. "Humph. I just want to see how many times you can dodge." The big-size man sneered. Even though Long Fei's movements were strange, he did not care, as cultivation was everything. No matter how strong your movement technique is, it's only a cultivation technique. The big-size man rushed towards Long Fei once again. Although his body seemed huge, his movement technique was very agile and his reflexes were surprisingly fast. Shua. Long Fei turned into the void door. The big bloke rolled his eyes from left to right, coldly shouting, "You dog, get out here. Get the hell out here. Let's see how long you can hide." Suddenly, the big bloke's footsteps shook, bang. The moment his foot landed on the ground trembled. Just like a wrestler, his body slightly lowered, and a gigantic ball of flesh half-squatted on the ground. The action was very strange. However, the surrounding gang of heroes' lackeys all paled as they desperately retreated backwards. "Ah, ha, ha, ah, ha, ha. I'll let you see my earthquake technique. I want to see where else you can hide." The huge bloke laughed out wildly as he suddenly curled up his body, turning into a ball of flesh. The ball of flesh shot out. Boom. It bounced off into the air and exploded on the ground like a cannonball. A violent vibration spread out and the surrounding trees immediately exploded. The rock turned into powder. Many of the gang of heroes warriors who did not manage to escape in time started bleeding from their orifices, and their bodies started bursting apart. "Ah, ha, ha, ah, ha, ha. Where else can you hide? Ha ha ha." He did not care about the life or death of his disciple. He was completely like a madman. His body crazily bounced up and down, and the air and the ground were filled with violent ripples of vibration. Long Fei's virtual mirror, tens of thousands of void door also began to crack from the shock. Cracks appeared one after another. This was because Long Fei's holy power value was too weak and was unable to withstand the energy waves from the big-sized guy's earthshock technique. Buzz, buzz, buzz. As the void door shattered one after another, Long Fei hid within the flickering void door. His heart secretly tightened. Damn, if this goes on, all of the void door will be shattered. Broken one void door meant losing a protective barrier. This was quite disadvantageous for Long Fei. Shua. Long Fei stepped out of the void door. "Grandson, Grandpa is here." The big-sized man glared at Long Fei furiously, and with a leap, he struck Long Fei accurately. Long Fei then disappeared, passing through a few void doors. At this moment, A few more void doors broke into pieces. He couldn't stop it at all. This meatball's elasticity was too abnormal. Furthermore, he could not feel any pain at all. Cultivating the earthquake technique had refined his skin and flesh to become extremely hard, just like a demon beast. This kind of impact would not hurt at all. Ha ha ha. Brat, come out. You pissed Lousy off, Lousy will grind you into mincemeat. The big guy said savagely. Boom, boom, boom. Rumble. They exploded. He couldn't even block it. Is there any other way? Long Fei was secretly anxious. What kind of power can block him? Suddenly, Long Fei's heart sank. Death planet. Yes, Titan King was not absorbed by the system furnace, and neither was the Starbook. Immediately, Long Fei shouted coldly, let's see just how powerful your body is, and how powerful you are compared to one of my planetary planes. Shua. Long Fei walked out from the void door, and the big size man instantly rushed towards him, grinning widely. Ha ha ha. Brat, give me your life. Long Fei moved his right hand and a gobbledygook book appeared in his hand. The moment the big guy crashed into him, a huge round ball fell down. The big guy disdainfully said, you can block me with a rock like that. Humph. Let me show you my strength. He used all the strength in his body to strike it. Chapter 1669 Oatuchuki Hagoromo Possession. Chapter 1669 Oatuchuki Hagoromo Possession. Bam. Rumble. Buzz. Buzz. It was like hitting a giant piece of steel. Long Fei shouted, if you can break this, I really will call you Ichiwan Okazawa. Crack. Poochie. Ah. A blood-curdling scream rang out. The big bloke's body was curled up, his flesh constantly being squeezed and squeezed. His entire body had gone from a circular shape to a flat one. Teeth fell off. Half his face was red and swollen. He was in as much pain as he could get, and the amount of HP above his head had instantly decreased by more than half. This collision had really nearly taken his life. He flicked his body. The ball of meat loosened and returned to its original state. His mouth was full of blood and he was extremely furious. Long Fei laughed. Let's go again, let's go again. Earthquake techniques are very powerful. The impact was strong, any stronger than his death planet. Although it was just a small ball, it was actually a dead star merged by Long Fei from a Starbook. Long Fei didn't know just how big it was, but he was certain that it was larger than any of the 100,000 planes the main temple controlled. It couldn't even compare to the ancient holy battlefield's plane. One could imagine how vast he was. How hard was its microcosm? Hiss tilde tilde. The large piece of flesh bared its teeth in pain, rubbed its head, and stared at Long Fei with eyes that seemed to spew fire. You dog, don't get cocky, watch how I'll kill you. He was furious. Red light surrounded his body. The light of divine power. Long Fei was shocked. Damn, the boss is going berserk. The big guy shouted, everyone forward. Luo Yuan did not dare to disobey the order. The big guy was famous for his ruthlessness. If he got angry at them, they would all be killed. They all rushed forward. The big-sized guy gasped for breath. He stared at Long Fei and said, I don't believe it. Boom. His body rolled again, turning into a top. He quickly started to roll. Long Fei was startled. Fuck, isn't this supposed to be a dragon turtle? Let's see how tough you are. Long Fei looked at his remaining holy power value. If he did not hurry and kill Yu Yang, he would die here. Buzz. Long Fei wore the void door. In that instant, Long Fei appeared in mid-air as the idea moved. Titan. Understood. Holy power value infused into the Death Star. King Titan's power burst forth with it. Where is he? Where did he go? The big man suddenly lost his target and shouted. Aside from void doors on the ground, there were also doors in the sky. Vice Sect Leader, in the sky. The big-sized guy looked up to the sky. Long Fei was directly holding the huge ball in his hand. The ball was getting bigger and bigger. It was a scene. Moreover, under the moonlight, slowly, the ball blocked the moonlight as if it was Long Fei holding up the moon. This scene. It was an incomparable shock. In the distance, Lei Ju suddenly stopped. What is that? The other 3 people also stopped, staring blankly at the sky. They were all dumbfounded. Isn't this too cool? At this moment, Long Fei had a feeling. As if he was a Oatutsuki Hagoromo, this kind of feeling was very strong, and allowed Long Fei to enter into this state. At the same time, he asked himself, what kind of plane is the Death Star that I fused with? Could it be that there really is some kind of powerful force inside? Why? I feel like this is the Oatutsuki Hagoromo's possession. How wonderful. Immediately, Long Fei's gaze darkened as he looked at the big man and his underlings on the ground, and shouted out loudly, blast it for me. Explode for me. Chapter 1670, Vibrating Fruit. Chapter 1670, Vibrating Fruit. It was unknown whether it was because Long Fei was currently cultivating his divine power, or because the laws of the ancient holy battlefield and the plane of Chaos realm were different, but when Long Fei's power flowed into the Death Star, he had a strong feeling. It was an unprecedented power, like the power of creation, like that of the Oatutsuki Hagoromo. Very special. However, Long Fei didn't have the mind to care about his peculiarity. What he needed to do now was one thing. Explode. Boom. With a diameter of more than 1,000 meters, it smashed into the ground heavily. Boom. 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 As the pressure continued, those gang of heroes' disciples were too scared to move. Their bodies trembled and they began to shout crazily, don't. Ah! The vice sect leader's eyes turned sinister as he completely ignored the others and ran out on his own. However, his speed was too slow. Boom! With a loud crash, the ground seemed to have flattened instantly. Crack, 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 crack. Asterisk. The sound of explosions could be heard from beneath the Death Star, as if a bunch of flies had been swatted to death. At this moment, the system's notification sound rang out crazily. Long Fei closed his eyes slightly, and with a smile, he said, come. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for getting 150 experience points for defeating Gang of Heroes subordinate Luo. Holy power value, 10 points. Energy values, 1 point. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for getting 150 experience points for defeating Gang of Heroes subordinate Luo. Holy power value, 10 points. Energy values, 1 point. Ding. A special system beep sounded out. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Vice Sect Master of Gang of Heroes for obtaining 80,000 experience, 6,900 holy power value, and 1 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 6 divine pills. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining earthquake technique. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining steel armor gloves. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining. A series of notifications sounded. Earthquake art. Armor gloves. Long Fei thought for a moment. Then, the idea moved and said, release your metamorphic energy value. Ding. System prompt, please choose. Earthquake art. The steel armor gloves were of an average rank, but the earthquake art had left a deep impression on Long Fei. That kind of meatball style of bouncing around caused the earth to tremble, unable to withstand it at all. If he didn't have the star book, he really wouldn't be a match for this fatty. After making the choice, the metamorphic energy value quickly disappeared into 0. It was also at this time. A surge of energy flowed into the seismic art. Long Fei thought, I have obtained another cultivation method at the Great Perfection stage. What will the Great Perfection level of the earthquake art be like? When the dragon step was infused with metamorphic energy value, it became a perfect stage, and its pace became as swift as a ghost's. The technique of spirit communication also turned into virtual mirror. The metamorphic energy value is really awesome. What realm can one's earthquake technique evolve to this time? It paused for a few seconds. The system sounded out. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining vibrating fruit. Do you wish to consume it? Huh? What? Long Fei's eyes went blank, he did not know how to react. What? What fruit? Quickly open the system. When he saw the demon fruit that was floating in his mind, Long Fei smiled. His smile was very perverted and he had an extremely wretched look on his face. Oh my God, this is taking my life. I thought metamorphic energy value could only help cultivation techniques to improve proficiency. Who would have thought that it could even change? Isn't this too awesome? It was hard to imagine. Long Fei had never thought that it would be possible to be this powerful, as a cultivation technique could directly evolve into a demon fruit. I like perverts. Ha ha ha. And then, Long Fei moved and said, swallow. How could the shaking fruit of the Whitebeard not be eaten? How could he let go of the power that tore through space and ravaged the earth? Ding. The shaking fruit has been devoured. Long Fei's cultivation method column had an additional skill. Shaking the fruit, the power of earthquake. Ha ha ha. Awesome. What a great explosion, what a great change. Long Fei couldn't help but laugh. At this moment, the Death Star slowly disappeared. A huge crater appeared on the ground. Blood and flesh were mixed in the crater and it was all crushed into meat paste. At this moment, Lei Ju had arrived just in time. Looking at the corpses in the surroundings, the blood shot out explosively from the broken limbs. The entire scene was like a purgatory in the human world. It was extremely terrifying. Lei Ju looked at Long Fei, who was standing not far away. He was like the god of death that controlled purgatory. His entire body was covered in blood, and his eyes were cold and sinister. It was intimidating at first glance. Just like a born powerhouse. Awesome. God, he really is a god. Lei Ju was unable to control the excitement in his heart. He really wanted to kneel and kowtow towards Long Fei. Too fierce. Long Fei was startled when he saw Lei Ju and the rest return. He immediately withdrew his bloodthirsty look and asked, "Why have you guys come back?" He glanced at Lan Ya. Long Fei took out the magic antler and threw it over, saying, "This is for you." It was obvious that Lan Ya needed this magic antler. Lan Ya received it with one hand and was immediately moved. Magic Antler S were worth 10,000 divine spirit pills, and furthermore, the key point was that the magic antler of the gigantic heavenly deer tribe had a useful property that was useless to other magic antler. It could cure a disease. A very strange disease. She had to find these magic antler to save her father. At this moment, Lei Ju immediately knelt down on one knee, and said, "Great God, thank you." Lan Ya's face was also filled with excitement, as he also knelt down on one knee, and said excitedly, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." He could not help but tear up. Long Fei waved his hand and said, "It's just a magic antler, it's not like it's anything good. Take it." He really didn't mind. He did not even look at the magic antler's attributes, much less know its value. If he knew, then he wouldn't be so generous. A great god is a great god. Truly awesome. Lei Ju was even more respectful. Not to mention his Lei family, even the Lan clan wouldn't dare to just gift this kind of magic antler. He could tell from Long Fei's eyes that he did not take Long Fei seriously. This was too awesome. With a 3-star cultivation, he had crushed the Gang of Heroes' vice-sect leader and over 100 of his lackeys. If word of this got out, no one would believe it. Lei Ju walked up and said, "Great God, can you tell me your name?" She was extremely careful, as if she was afraid that she would make Long Fei unhappy. Long Fei said, "My name is Long Fei." Lei Ju muttered, "Long Fei? I seem to have heard of this name somewhere. It was a bit familiar. But I can't remember where I heard it." He must have heard it somewhere. It seemed like it came from the mouth of his Lei family's patriarch. What is it? Chapter 1671, Nameless Valley. Chapter 1671, Nameless Valley. Lei Ju did not like to think. He would never think too much about things that he could not come up with. Lei Ju did not think too much about it and said, "My name is Lei Ju, the two of them are Mount Tai, the two brothers Tai Hai, and she is Lan Ya." The Lei, Tai, and Lan clan families were extremely powerful in the Devil Island. It could be said that they were existences that not a single person was unaware of. However, there were no ripples at all in Long Fei's eyes. Lei Ju was shocked yet again, as he thought to himself, "Great God looks to be about the same age as us, It is impossible that he has never heard of the three great clans, but there isn't the slightest hint of shock in his eyes. Or is it a more powerful force? Mount Tai, the two Tai Hai brothers also felt the same way. The three great families were extremely huge in the 10 cities of the Devil Island, and very few people did not know about them. But Long Fei did not care about it. This made them worship Long Fei even more. If they knew that Long Fei didn't know what the three great families were talking about, and they wondered what he would think. If he didn't know, of course he wouldn't be shocked. Lei Ju said, "Great God, are you here to gain experience?" Long Fei said, "You can say that." Lei Ju thought, as expected, he must be a genius disciple from a big sect, and only a genius disciple can defeat the vice sect master of Gang of Heroes at a cultivation level of 3 stars. Long Fei asked, "You came for the spirit beasts?" Lei Ju nodded, "Amen, I came specifically for this gigantic heavenly deer. If it wasn't for your help, I'm afraid we would have." "Right." Lei Ju asked again, "Great God, where are you planning to go next?" Long Fei said, "Continue with the trial, find a place with many demon beast for the trial." His current level was not high enough. He had to get stronger, and if he did not make good use of the metamorphic energy value, then it would truly be a waste. Li Ruchao was still waiting for him at Yama City. Since it was something he had promised, Long Fei would definitely do it. Lei Ju stared blankly for a moment, then said, "Great God, I know of a place with a lot of demon beast. I can lead the way for you, but can you let me follow by your side? Just be a small fry. Will you?" His eyes were pitiful. It was as if it was afraid that Long Fei would disagree. Long Fei replied, "I'm not some great god, I should be a bit older than you. If you don't mind, just call me Big Bro. As for bringing you along," Lei Ju immediately said, "Brother Fei, I know how to do everything. I'm good at holding water, splitting firewood, cooking, and washing clothes." Mount Tai, Tai Hai, and Lan Yue all looked at Lei Ju with stupefied expressions. Lei Ju could be considered a young master of Lei Ju. How could he do all these? Then I've really seen a ghost. Long Fei didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and said, "Then follow me." "And us?" Mount Tai and Tai Hai immediately took a step forward and said, "We are also proficient in carrying water, splitting firewood, cooking, and washing clothes. Brother Fei, please take us along as well." Lan Yue said in a low voice, "Can't you all have a bit of integrity?" Tarzan replied, "A moral integrity? Can you eat the moral integrity?" The strength that Long Fei displayed was just too strong. In their hearts, they believed that Long Fei definitely came from some kind of powerful sect, so they would definitely not be at a disadvantage if they followed him. Of course. In their hearts, they also greatly admired Long Fei. He was also their savior. At this time, his moral integrity had long been thrown into the chrysanthemum. Long Fei looked at their sincere faces and could not help but laugh bitterly. "Didn't you guys say you were looking for Magic Antler to save people? Right now, you should return as soon as possible after the Magic Antler has been obtained." Lei Ju replied, "That's not a problem." And then, Lei Ju took out a bird that was emitting a bright light from his spatial bag. Lan Yue handed the Magic Antler over and Lei Ju injected it into the little bird's body. Soon after, the little bird swallowed the Magic Antler into its stomach and after flapping its wings a few times, it flew back into the air. Lei Ju said, "Done." This was the first time Long Fei had seen such a thing, just like a carrier pigeon. However, it was much stronger than a carrier pigeon. Seeing Long Fei's shocked expression, Lei Ju said, "This is a spirit bird unique to our three great families. It can help us pass down things, so tomorrow, the Magic Antler will be in Uncle Lan's hands. Don't worry. This kind of thing isn't bad." Long Fei said softly, "If it was placed on Earth, the entire courier staff would probably lose their jobs." Lei Ju said, "Brother Fei, those are just small toys. I'll send you off when I return to the Lei family." Long Fei said, "Then it's a deal." "Of course I want something good." Lei Ju replied, Of course. Let's go. Lead the way to a place with dense demon beast." Long Fei said. 4 hours later. "What did you say? The deputy sect master is dead." On the side of the cliff behind Gang of Heroes, a man with an incomparably gigantic body sat on the ground. His pupils were as constricted as a cobra's as he shouted, "Truly useless things. You can't even catch a few little kids. Humph." And then, a gust of wind directly grabbed that disciple and threw him into his mouth. He began to chew, and fresh blood flowed out from between his teeth. As he chewed, he said, "You can come out." Buzz. A mysterious figure wearing a cloak appeared out of thin air. He spoke with a low and deep voice that carried a tone of reproach. "You failed." Yu Wanxiong swallowed the meat he was chewing, and said, "I don't want to do it either, but the information you gave me was not complete. Even if you said 4 people, it was clearly 5 people." The mysterious man coldly said, "Are you trying to find a reason for your defeat?" His voice was so cold that it made one's hair stand on end. Yu Wanxiong's Adam's apple rolled a little as he said, "I will personally take action the next time. I will definitely not give them the slightest opportunity." "Humph. It's best if you do. Otherwise, there's no need for you to live in this world," the mysterious man said with killing intent, after which he vanished. It was impossible to see how he disappeared. Yu Wanxiong exhaled a long breath. Damned Lan clan. He knew exactly who the mysterious man was. What kind of power was behind him? He could not afford to offend him. And then, Yu Wanxiong's voice sunk as he heavily shouted, "Find them for me." His voice echoed throughout the entire Gang of Heroes, and then, the entire Gang of Heroes was out. 2 days later. "Brother Fei, it's here. This is a nameless valley. We were lured out from here before. There were a lot of demon beast in this valley." Lei Ju pointed to the valley in front of them and said, "This valley is somewhat special. Logically speaking, demon beast should kill each other upon meeting each other, but they didn't kill each other. Instead, they were all guarding this valley." Lan Wei said, "Could it be some kind of treasure?" Tai Hai laughed, and said, "Even if there was a world spirit treasure, it would not appear in Devil Island, which is a land of gods. There would definitely not be any world spirit treasure appearing." Long Fei, who was from a combat faction, said, "Go in and take a look." Chapter 1672, Blood Essence Breaking Array. Chapter 1672, Blood Essence Breaking Array. Devil Island, Forsaken God Nation. Compared to other places, the divine essence here was thinner, and the land was barren. The people here would perish on their own. There was no law. This was a god's place to deal with trash. No one could leave this place, let alone escape from this place. This sort of place. There would be no miracles. Therefore, it was impossible for a spiritual treasure to appear here no matter what. Because it was impossible. Long Fei's group of 5 stepped into the valley. The moment they stepped into the valley, a low roar sounded out. A green gigantic tiger walked out of the forest, its 2 eyes staring at Long Fei with hostility. Low roars came out of its throat, as though it was driving Long Fei away. It didn't attack. It just stayed there. Very strange. Was there a demon beast that wouldn't attack when it saw a human? Lei Ju said in a low voice, "Brother Fei, it's very strange, right? This guy is guarding there." Long Fei thought, "Seems like there really is something special in this valley. Attack." As soon as Long Fei finished his sentence, Lei Ju reacted in the blink of an eye as he took a heavy step forward and activated the heavy armor on his body. The cyanide tiger opened its bloody mouth and roared towards the sky. Its long fangs were 30 centimeters long, and the green tiger hair on its body seemed to double in size. It looked even more terrifying. Roar. The tiger's roar was like thunder. The sound wave attack. Lei Ju's reaction was not slow, his body shrank, and the fist in his hand smashed down even more. "Bastard, get down." At the same time, Mount Tai, Tai Hai and Tai Hai attacked together. The staff in Lan Wei's hand moved, and a ray of light enveloped Lei Ju's body, supporting him with his armor. Bang, bang. 2 heavy blows rang out. Green Tiger retreated, his eyes changed, and his entire body flushed red. Rampage. My HP was reduced by less than 10% and I entered berserk mode. Long Fei was confused. According to common sense, Demon Beast would fight to the death when it was in berserk mode, It would only explode out when it was just a little bit of HP. But for Green Tiger to enter berserk mode in this state, it could only mean one thing. He was desperately trying to protect the things inside the valley. He did not hesitate to pay with his life. Be careful, this guy is going berserk. Long Fei reminded as he said faintly, the three of you stall it, I'll attack. Understood. Lei Ju's heavy armor shook, and the three of them surrounded him immediately. Long Fei moved his right hand, spirit communication technique, void. Buzz. In a flash, the void door activated and its body drilled into the void, disappearing without a trace. Lan Yue was startled, he thought. Isn't that the spirit arts of Heavenly Deer? Boom, boom, boom. The three of them blocked Green Tiger's attack, and in an instant, Long Fei appeared behind Green Tiger. Bam! They had no idea how Long Fei had appeared. It was unknown when Green Tiger had appeared behind them. When he wanted to turn around and rush towards Long Fei, his figure disappeared from where he stood, and the instant Lei Ju grabbed onto him, the attacks of the three people came crashing down heavily. Bang, bang, bang. Both sides pulled back. 3 minutes later, a woo. With a howl, Green Tiger fell. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Green Tiger for obtaining 1200 experience, 100 holy power value, 1 energy values. Good experience. Long Fei muttered, and also reminded them, this valley is indeed a little special, everyone must be careful. Lei Ju said, Brother Fei, why don't I go inside to scout? No way. Long Fei immediately denied and said, it's too dangerous. Suddenly, boom. A rumble came from the depths of the valley, as if a force had struck it. The entire valley suddenly shook. The demon beast in the valley were also crawling on the ground as they let out low cries of fear. It's like this again, a sudden explosion. Wow, maybe there really is a spiritual treasure unearthed. Did we get lucky? The Devil Island is actually able to produce a heavenly soul treasure. The four of them were overjoyed. This phenomenon was a little similar to when a heavenly soul treasure was unearthed, but Long Fei had a bad premonition, and felt that something was going to happen. However, now that he was here, even if something bad happened, he had to get to the bottom of it. And then, Long Fei said, while these demon beasts do not dare to move, we will quickly enter the valley. Remember, the situation is not right. Immediately move to the back. Do not hesitate at all. With that said, Long Fei led the way and ran deeper into the valley. Lei Ju stood to the side to protect Long Fei. Lan Yue was in the middle, while Mount Tai and Tai Hai were behind. Boom, boom, boom. The frequency of the tremors became stronger and stronger. The violent tremors in the valley were like iron hammers pounding against the core of the earth. It was also at this time. The disciples of the Gang of Heroes quickly gathered. Inform the sect leader, they have entered Death Valley. Then aren't they courting death? Hurry up and inform them. Ah, ha, ha. Kids, let's see where you can escape to this time. Yu Wanxiong let out a sinister and terrifying laugh. His huge body shook for a moment before he immediately shot out, disappearing from his original position in an instant. Within the valley, Long Fei and the other three couldn't stand straight, but when they reached the deepest part of the valley, they realized that there was nothing there. No cave. Brother Fei, what's going on? Lei Ju asked anxiously. The tremors continued. But they couldn't find a place. Long Fei looked at the rocks around him and thought to himself, there's no reason. The tremors came from underground. There must be caves nearby, or should we say. Long Fei looked at the ground beneath his feet as he punched the ground with all his strength. Buzz. A halo of light shot out. Long Fei's strength was very weak, and it was only a light halo of light. There's a seal formation here. After being attacked by Long Fei's power, the roar's underground became even louder, the energy on the ground moving and extending outwards. What a powerful strength! What kind of power is this? Rumble. With the formation as the center, streams of power surged outwards from the ground. At this moment, the 10,000 beasts roared and the entire valley began to shake violently. Brother Fei, what should we do? Long Fei's thoughts flew, he shouted out, everyone use your strength, Let's see if you can destroy the formation. The 5 of them exerted force. They hit the ground together. The light on the ground rippled, and the formation became even clearer. It's not enough. Use more strength. The 5 players punched again. At this moment, a drop of blood dripped down from Long Fei's fist onto the array formation. Long Fei himself did not realize this, but at the moment the blood droplet made contact with the array formation. Rumble. Red light soared to the sky from the center of the formation. He broke the array. Chapter 1673, Demon Sword. Chapter 1673, Demon Sword. Red light shot into the sky. It was like a beam of light exploding in the sky. Next, the surface of the rune array quickly crumbled, while the moving force underground exploded upon contact with the surface of the ground. In less than half a minute, the entire valley was covered in spider-web-like cracks. Long Fei and the other 3, who were at the center of the array, felt the power that came from the ground, which was incomparably intense. Be careful. Long Fei reminded her. A loud explosion suddenly sounded from the center of the formation, and the formation pierced through the ground like a bamboo shoot. A sword. Half of his body was exposed. The other half of the sword was buried under the ground. Streaks of blood-red light slowly emerged from the ground. It's a sword. Lei Ju was shocked. He immediately became excited. I never thought that there would really be a heaven and earth spirit treasure. Is this even the first time in the history of the Devil Island? This sword gave people a special kind of magic. It was as if he couldn't pull it out just by looking at it. At this moment, Mount Tai walked up, excitement evident in his eyes. He staggered like a zombie and grabbed onto the hilt of his sword. Long Fei's mind tensed up, and shouted out, "Don't take it." However, it was already too late. The ape-man grabbed the hilt of his sword, and with a shudder of red light, his eyes turned bloodshot. Incarnation. The power within his body was being absorbed at a crazy rate. "Big brother," Tai Hai shouted loudly. Unable to control his own body, Mount Tai bellowed, "All of you will die, all of you will die, all of you will die." Lan Ya released a wave of defensive power, but before the power could reach him, it was instantly crushed, causing Lan Ya to be bounced back as well. Lei Ju bellowed, "Mount Tai, what are you trying to do?" Mount Tai laughed sinisterly, staring straight at Lei Ju. At this moment, his hands were covered in long and thin wisps of blood. They were densely packed together, resembling blood-colored worms that had grown on the hilt of his sword and were tightly entangling his hands. Devil sword. Vicious sword. Extremely savage. Long Fei's heart sank slightly as he said immediately, "Mount Tai is controlled by the devil sword. He has already lost all sense of reason." Immediately, Long Fei took out the sword from Tai Hai's body. With a step, he slashed towards Mount Tai. "Ah!" Tarzan let out a shrill cry. After his arm was cut off, he quickly fell to the ground. His eyes returned to normal as he looked at his arm that was completely wrapped in blood, crawling away from the ground. Thank you, Brother Fei." Blood spurted from his shoulder as Mount Tai consumed several healing pellets. He did not dare to look at the sword again. Do not look at it directly. It is a demon sword. It can control a person's mind. Be careful. He was keenly aware of the feeling of being controlled. It was as if the world had collapsed and his entire being was going crazy, incomparably terrifying. If Long Fei had not cut off his arm, he would have been completely controlled by the devil sword. Mount Tai trembled in pain, cold sweat pouring down its forehead. Tai Hai supported him, while Lei Ju protected Lan Ya behind him, and asked, "Brother Fei, what do we do?" The sword rapidly wrapped itself around half of Mount Tai's arm, frantically absorbing its power. In the blink of an eye, it had turned into 2 sections of bones without the slightest bit of flesh or blood remaining. All of them were absorbed by the demon sword. Terrifying to the extreme, at this time, a voice continuously resounded inside Long Fei's mind, "Come on, come on." Chapter 1674, Unconvinced. Violent attack. Chapter 1674, Unconvinced. Violent attack. He kept shouting. It was like a red light in the dark street. As he walked past, the girls inside kept shouting at him, "Little brother, come in and play, come in and play, big sister will make you comfortable." That voice was full of temptation. It was full of magic. Ah! Long Fei clenched his fists tightly, his fingernails digging into the flesh of his palms, the piercing pain engulfing his entire body and using the sharp pain to burst his consciousness out. "Retreat!" Long Fei quickly shouted. This demon sword was not an ordinary demon sword. Its mana was so strong that it was terrifying and irresistible. Moreover, once he steps forward to catch it, his body will immediately become entangled and become a part of the demon sword, or the executioner of the demon sword, turning him into a homicidal maniac. Or, it was directly sucked into the skeleton frame by the demon sword. Lei Ju said, "Brother Fei, this is a godly sword, why are we giving it up just like that? Do you want your life or your sword?" Long Fei said, he also wanted it, but to control the demon sword, he needed to have the ability. He must not act rashly until he had thought of a countermeasure. He had no choice. The five quickly retreated and stood 10 meters away. Various tempting voices continuously resounded in the minds of the 5 people. "Come, I will allow you to climb to the peak of this world. I will let you be free from all constraints. Lei Ju, didn't you want to marry Lan Ya as your wife? Didn't Lan Clan look down on you? As long as you listen to me, I guarantee that no one will dare to stop you. Lan Ya, didn't you want to save your father? Come, become my slave. I guarantee that no one will dare to touch your father. Tai Hai, do you want the people from the Tai family to look up to you? If you become my slave, I will make them all kneel before you." All sorts of tempting voices could be heard. His mind was lost. Long Fei shouted heavily, "Don't listen to its nonsense." Cold sweat covered their foreheads, as if they were about to fall. Their minds were the same, slowly falling to the ground. Lei Ju said, "Brother Fei, we can't hold on any longer. Brother Fei, please kill me. Kill me. I can't hold on any longer. I. Suddenly, Tai Hai's eyes turned sinister. He was no longer able to control his mind was already being controlled by the devil aura coming out from the devil sword. It was extremely uncomfortable. He stared blankly at the demon sword in the distance. His body was like that of 1,000,000,000,000 ants tearing at each other. His mind was urging him to go and get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. This voice continued to ring. "Ah! Ah!" Tai Hai shouted. He was about to go crazy. At the same time, he also rushed towards that demon sword. Long Fei moved a step, a palm landed on the back of his head, directly knocking him out, and shouted, "Lei Ju, bring them out of the valley. Faster." Lei Ju supported Tai Hai and said, "Brother Fei, what about you?" Long Fei stared at the devil's sword and said, "I want to kill him." Lei Ju was startled. Long Fei shouted again, "Get out quickly." This demon sword was very strong, its demonic nature was too strong. The stronger it was, the stronger it would be. If he could control it, it would become a superpower. To Long Fei, he could not miss out on any power. Lei Ju brought the 3 of them and quickly withdrew. Only Long Fei was left at the edge of the array. Huff! Long Fei exhaled heavily, stared at the devil's sword and said, "Come, let me see how strong your magic is." Bam! He took a step forward. Landing beside the devil's sword, Long Fei unhesitatingly grabbed it with one hand. In that instant, those long and thin blood veins on the devil's sword appeared once again, coiled around Long Fei's back, and stabbed into his flesh. Long Fei roared, "Come then." Boom! A roar. His mind ignored the enticement and control of the demon sword and entered the unique space of the demon sword through the bloodstrings. At this moment, 1,000,000 corpses were lying in wait, and blood flowed like a river. The sky was blood red. The earth was blood red. His surroundings were filled with a violent killing intent. It was extremely dense. What kind of world is this? Long Fei's heart trembled slightly. When he leveled up to the point where he could kill countless number of people, he could kill as many demon beasts as he could, but the people he could kill in this world, those demon beasts, were simply nothing compared to the people he could kill here. Ah, ha, ha. Ah, ha, ha. I didn't expect you to be able to enter this place. Kid, your blood is different from others' blood. No wonder he was able to break seal. An arrogant voice sounded. A red blood mist appeared in front of Long Fei's consciousness. It was the demon sword's sword intent. The sword intent that had rushed out. Long Fei said coldly, "You are the devil's sword." The demon sword gave a faint smile and said, "That's right. I am the demon sword's sword intent, condensed from 9,999,999 lives. How is it? You're hanging yourself, aren't you? Ha ha ha. What a pity. It's a pity that my previous master didn't understand how strong I was. If I had my seal here, if I had a little more time, I could have broken through to 10 million, ha ha ha. I can become the #1 sword of the demonic path. However, don't worry about it, I've waited for over 1,000,000 years, and now I have. Are you honored? It was you who made me become the #1 sword of the demonic path." The demon sword's sword intent was wild with excitement. 10 million. Life. This number was too terrifying. Long Fei laughed sinisterly, the #1 sword of the demonic way. Today, you either have faith in me, or I will turn you into ashes. Ha ha ha. The moment Long Fei's voice fell, the demon sword's sword intent started laughing wildly, and said, "No one dares to speak to me like that, not even my previous master. He can only destroy me using the seal, but you want me to turn into dust? Humph. You really overestimate yourself." His voice was as cold as ice. At this moment, Long Fei's idea had always been inside the devil's sword, and his body, as well as his flesh, was already covered in dense amounts of blood veins, completely wrapping them around his body. It was as if his entire body was drenched in blood. The infernal sword sneered, "Do you know that you are about to die?" Long Fei laughed, "Don't worry, even if you die first." Suddenly, Long Fei moved. Buzz. With a gobbledygook in his right hand, a huge dead star fell on his left hand, falling into the space within the devil's sword, and continued to grow larger. Marks that looked like commas appeared on Long Fei's neck one after another. His heart trembled slightly. Damn, could it really be the power of the Oatsuchi Hagoromo? Who the hell cares what kind of power it is? As long as I can kill you. Long Fei roared out, the Death Star in his hand suddenly suppressed down, the power in his body exploded out. "If you don't accept it, we will beat you until you accept it." Chapter 1675, Killing Mode. Chapter 1675, Killing Mode. Savage. I'm even more brutal than you. Enlargement stroke immediately appeared out of nowhere. Moreover, whether it was in the special space or the real world, Long Fei's big move was just as fierce. Every time he released it, Long Fei felt the Death Star's power becoming even stronger. This time, the strange thing was that there were 9 comma runes on it. Could it be? Are there 9 big-tailed beasts on this dead star? Amongst the stars on the starbook, Long Fei had fused with the farthest star on it. According to the astronomical common sense on Earth, it was the largest star in the entire book. Even Long Fei himself was unable to explain just what kind of star had fused with the limitless galaxy and the billions of stars. The appearance of the system itself was a bug. Killing monsters and leveling up killing monsters was itself a bug. Long Fei's teleportation was the biggest bug. It wasn't impossible for Long Fei to fuse with some kind of plane created by the Oatsuchi Hagoromo, and there was nothing that was impossible within the system. An extremely powerful force was unleashed. Rumble. The entire space of the demon sword began to tremble violently, and unceasingly shattered. Long Fei looked down from above, and said coldly like a king, "If you want to suck my body dry, then I'll make your world completely collapse. I'll see how you still manage to become the #1 sword of the Devil Dao. I'm afraid the lowest in the demonic path is about the same." The infernal sword was unable to block it. Moreover, it was too late for him to blast Long Fei's idea out of his space at this time. The enormous energy crazily crushed his world, and this was a power he had never seen before. Terrifying anomaly. The demon sword's sword intent bellowed, both of us will take a step back. I will let you go and you can leave this place. Everyone has taken a step back now? Too late. Long Fei did not stop at all, and said, right now, you only have one choice, to become my slave forever. The demon sword's sword intent flew into a rage as it shouted, Kid, you think you're worthy? Hee hee. I'm not worthy, am I? Then let's see if I'm worthy or not. Long Fei's eyes were filled with anger, the pressure from the Death Star became even stronger, and started to frantically crush everything. The demon sword space was almost unable to hold on any longer. Crack, crack. The devil's sword had waited for millions of years, and the day he had finally obtained the breaking through the seal, however. He never would have thought that he would meet a madman like Long Fei. They actually wanted to die together with him. He didn't want to die. After being trapped in the seal for millions of years, he had yet to even think about dying, and now, he even more so didn't want to die. Demon Sword said, all right. I promise you. That's the tone. Long Fei sneered. His strength did not decrease, and he continued to crush. Demon Sword's body trembled. He was so angry that smoke was about to come out from his head. He said angrily, what exactly do you want? You are my slave, I am your master, and you speak to your master in this tone? Are you really convinced? Long Fei shouted. The infernal sword truly regretted it. I am too regretful that I allowed Long Fei to enter his domain of power. Too irritable. If not for that, he would have sucked Long Fei dry a long time ago. He had no choice. Demon Sword forcefully suppressed the anger in his heart and said respectfully, Master, I was wrong. Please forgive me. Not sincere enough. Long Fei deliberately made things difficult. The demon sword was really angry as it shouted, Brat, what do you want to do? He was going crazy. If this space crumbled, then his sword would shatter. Then the ruthlessness and killing intent from killing 9,999,999 people would disappear. These were the cultivation bases that he had cultivated. If they disappeared, and he doesn't exist. Long Fei laughed, I've said it clearly, I'm not sincere enough. Ah! With a furious roar, the demon sword knelt on the ground and said, I'm sorry, but I don't dare to do it again. Is that enough? It's a bit far-fetched. Long Fei continued. The devil's sword was about to be driven mad by Long Fei, but he really had no way at all right now, and said, I was wrong, I was wrong. Master, I was wrong. The entire Death Star was about to burst his space. He would die instantly. At this moment, Long Fei slightly said, Titan King, how's your new home? Titan King slightly said, that's right, just right. Sure. Then from now on, you will be here. Long Fei moved his idea and the remnant soul of the Titan King and the body of the Titan King directly entered the Devil Sword space. Demon Sword was stunned for a moment. F***CK. He had never seen such a tyrannical body. Who was this person? This body was brimming with power that he had never felt before. The Titans did not even exist on 100,000 planes, so naturally the Devil's Sword had never felt them before. The remnant soul of the Titan King stared at the Demon Sword and said, be obedient, or else, do you know what happens next? As soon as he finished, Titan King suddenly moved, the divine anchor shook, and the entire space of the Devil's Sword trembled. This was the power that restricted the Demon Sword. Long Fei's current cultivation was only at the 3-star realm, and was basically unable to suppress him. He couldn't possibly be constantly in the space within the Devil's Sword, right? It would be best to use the Titan King to suppress the Devil's Sword. This time, the Infernal Sword had completely given up. He was so desperate that he wanted to die. He was still thinking about how Long Fei would disappear from his Devil Sword domain, how he would kill Long Fei immediately, but this move of Long Fei's had completely cut off all his delusions of trying to escape from Long Fei's grasp. Too despicable. The Infernal Sword roared. Long Fei laughed, to deal with people like you, it's natural to use a special method. Just obediently follow me, I guarantee that you will become the #1 sword of the Devil Dao. Huff. The demon's sword let out a long sigh. He could be considered to have completely given up on this idea. Long Fei laughed. It was also at this time. The system suddenly sounded out. Ding. Congratulations to the player Long Fei 4 Subdued Devil Sword. Would you like to learn the special reward killing sword technique? Before Long Fei could practice the murderous swordplay, the system rang out again. Ding. Congratulations to the players for activating slaughter mode. Ding. Do you want to activate it? Activate. The Metamorphose system still had many unknown domains that had yet to be activated. This bloodthirsty mode was only one of them, but Long Fei was slightly taken aback. What's concealment mode? System, murderous mode description, duration of 3 minutes. Description 2, entering a bloodthirsty state. Description 3, crazed killer. Description 4, strength. Speed multiplied by several times. Defense multiplied by several times. It was a type of berserk system mode. Once Long Fei was activated, he would become like a berserk demon beast, sinking into a berserk state. Awesome. This mode is working together with the virtual mirror, no one can stop it. Long Fei laughed excitedly. At this moment, outside the valley, Yu Wanxiong crushed Lei Ju and the other 3 on the ground, coldly looked at the valley, and said, "Little bastard, you're the only one left." Chapter 1676, Controlling Monster Army. Chapter 1676, Controlling Monster Army. Outside the valley, the great army pressed down on the land. Many disciples of the Gang of Heroes were hiding in secret, forming a sack as they waited for Long Fei to come out from the valley. Sect Master, that lord wants the lives of these 4 men. That boy is probably already dead inside. Why should we wait? One of the lackeys said. Yu Wanxiong grinned and laughed. I'll give him another life, only then will we be generous. As soon as he finished, Yu Wanxiong's voice was instantly as cold as ice. Her gaze waited for the subordinate who had spoken, and said, "That kid killed so many people, and even killed the deputy sect master. If we don't find back this time, then how will my Gang of Heroes stand on top of the Devil Island? We must kill." He couldn't swallow his anger. He really slapped Gang of Heroes' face too hard. "Kid, you're still not coming out, right?" Yu Wanxiong's eyes were cold as he said, "Pass down my order, enter the valley." Sect Master. This is the Death Valley. The people who went in did not come out alive. Not waiting for him to finish, Yu Wanxiong directly crushed his head and coldly said, "Don't you understand what I'm saying? Enter the valley." He must get back the Vice Sect Master after his death. Within the valley, Long Fei held the devil's sword in his hand and tried to feel it. The thick killing intent continued to grow, unending. It made Long Fei feel that the killing intent on his body had become violent and filled with a ruthless aura, as if he was about to go berserk at any moment. Killing style. Killing technique. This demon sword is really something good. Long Fei was secretly excited in his heart. At this moment, roar, roar. Waves of demon beast walked out from the valley and stared at Long Fei. At first, these demon beasts did not dare to come close to this place, but now that the array had been broken and the force that was binding them had come into contact with it, they walked out. Each and every one of them were incomparably vicious demon beast. Although they did not cultivate magic antler S, they were difficult to deal with if they were to rush into the demon beastess that were all over the mountains and plains. Long Fei stood in place without moving. The idea sank slightly and the devil's sword in his hand flickered with a red light. This killing intent was formed from the condensed heads of over 9,990,000 people. It was a true killing intent. Extremely threatening. The surrounding demon beast were all startled and stopped in front of Long Fei. At this moment, suddenly, the forelimb of a demon beast fell to its knees. Immediately after, all the demon beastess that were walking down from the 2 sides of the valley kneeled on the ground as if they were submitting to Long Fei. Huh! Long Fei was startled. What's going on? Looking at the demon sword in his hand, he thought to himself, from the looks of it, this demon sword still has such a powerful deterrent force. That's not right. To be exact, these demon beasts were all enslaved by this demon sword and brought to the valley to protect it. Seems like you are a tyrant. All right then. From now on, your name is Tyrant. Long Fei glanced at the devil's sword in his hand and smiled, then looked at the demon beast around him and muttered in his heart, how much experience would it take to kill all these? Buzz. When Long Fei said the word kill, the explosive punch demon sword released a red light, as if it was a vampire that had sucked fresh blood in an instant, becoming excited. The demon sword was extremely bloodthirsty. Demon sword's voice rang out, kill, kill, kill them all. They were originally left here to be killed by me. Hurry up and kill them all. I like the smell of blood, ha ha ha. Just calm down. If I'm not you, then don't think about playing with Lao's tempo. Suddenly, these demon beasts did not touch him, and had even knelt in front of him as a sign of admiration. These demon beasts were his people. He couldn't just make a move on his own people, right? The demon sword grinned, expressing his displeasure. They are demon beast, they are all beasts, born to be killed, dying in my hands is their supreme honor. The demon sword was bloodthirsty. He had his own way of thinking, and his way of thinking was simple and crude. Kill. However, his mind could not control Long Fei's thoughts. The demon beast that was kneeling beside Long Fei acted as if it understood his words, and was grateful to him. In its eyes, there was an extra bit of respect for Long Fei. At this moment, roar. From the distance, the roar of a demon beast could be heard. Next, the surrounding demon beast all suddenly stood up and looked towards the outside of the valley. Long Fei's eyes were also startled. Lei Ju and the rest are back again? Just when Long Fei thought it was Lei Ju, a voice came out from the entrance of the valley, Brother Fei, run. Lei Ju. Something has happened. Long Fei's heart tensed up. He immediately thought of Gang of Heroes. Damn it, if I don't go looking for you, you should come looking for me first. Sensing the rage on Long Fei's body, the surrounding demon beast all released low roars. Long Fei's eyes trembled. All demons heed my command. The surrounding demon beastess immediately froze. All of them looked at Long Fei in unison, just like a row of warrior. The last time he killed the Gang of Heroes' vice sect leader, there would definitely be more people coming from there. Long Fei's holy power value was not very plentiful right now. If they were to fight head-on, they probably wouldn't be a match for him. However, but now, these monster army were different. Immediately, Long Fei immediately issued an order. Kill them all, don't leave a single one alive. Remember, if you perform well today, then you will be free to do so. From today onwards, you will no longer be controlled by the demon sword. Long Fei said lightly, retreat quickly, wait for my order. He did not lead the monster army outside. Long Fei wanted to know how many people came from the Gang of Heroes. The demon beast quickly retreated to the two sides of the valley and hid. The other demon beast in the valley also quickly retreated. Ha ha ha. I thought Death Valley was nothing special, but it's just a bunch of trash demon beast. Brothers, charge for me. Avenge the vice sect master. When the demon beast left, the disciples of the Gang of Heroes quickly pressed in. 10 minutes later, just into the depths of the valley, Long Fei stood where he was with the devil's sword in his hand and his long white hair fluttering about wantonly. Adding the killing intent released by the devil's sword, Long Fei looked as if he had turned into a devil lord. That's him. That's the kid. The disciples of Gang of Heroes surrounded Long Fei. Long Fei's eyes swept across the crowd. There are a lot of people here. At this moment, blood trickled from the corner of Lei Ju's mouth as he was held captive by a few disciples. He shouted at Long Fei, Brother Fei, run quickly. Yu Wanxiong swept away the disciples who were blocking him, then sat down on the ground with his bottom, and slapped Lei Ju in the face. He shouted coldly, you better behave and wait for me. Then, he stared at Long Fei who was in the encirclement. His eyes became angry, and without saying a word, he shouted, kill. Long Fei was startled, then laughed, boss. Chapter 1677 One Punch on the Boss. Chapter 1677 One Punch on the Boss. The glittering boss was like a stimulant to Long Fei. When he saw the boss, Long Fei was extremely excited, and the golden light emitted by the boss Yuanxiong was much more dazzling than the deputy sect masters. The items dropped would definitely be much better. Kill them all. Yuanxiong was not as long-winded as Luo Li, and coldly glanced at Long Fei. 3-star? Just this kind of person can kill the deputy sect master. It can only be said that my deputy sect master grew up eating shit. Useless thing. More and more contempt. Being defeated by Long Fei was even more shameful. The disciples of the gang of heroes took out their weapons and quickly rushed forward. Kill, brat, you're dead for sure. Kill. With hundreds of people surrounding him, it was hard for Long Fei to escape death. Lei Ju shouted loudly, Brother Fei, run. Brother Fei, let's go. Yuanxiong, if you dare kill him, my Chenkuan Thunder family will not let you go. Lei Ju shouted loudly. He had brought Long Fei here, and if Long Fei died, he would blame himself for his entire life. The Chenkuan Lightning family? Wow, you nearly scared me to the point of peeing, but do you think you can live? First him, then you, all of you will die. Yuanxiong excitedly laughed out loud, his eyes stared straight at Lan Yue and said, Little girl's meat is very tender, I'll eat you first later. I've never eaten such a delicate woman. Yuanxiong drooled. Lan Yue's body trembled, his face was pale from fright. At this time, Long Fei said lightly, Hey. Her gaze turned towards Yuanxiong. Yuanxiong's eyes turned, stared at Long Fei, and said, What? Should I pass on my last words? Long Fei said, Yes, I want you to pass down your last words, because you're going to die soon. Am I going to die? Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Yuanxiong laughed loudly. Was a true powerhouse, he could easily defeat anyone with a cultivation of 3-star. Long Fei? It was not enough. Long Fei said indifferently, Are you done laughing? Yuanxiong's eyes stared wide open as he shouted, You ignorant fool, die for me. Before he could even finish the word dead, Long Fei's right fist moved, and his gaze locked onto Yuanxiong as he shouted out lightly, blasting fists. Buzz. A special power burst out from Long Fei's body. No matter who you are, no matter what powerhouse you are, once the explosive punch is unleashed, there will only be one result. Instant kill. Boom. Long Fei punched out. There was nothing special about this punch, it was like a very ordinary punch. Yuanxiong sneered, You overestimate yourself. His enormous body shook as a strong wave of energy shot out from his body. His right arm moved and sent a slap towards his opponent. Die. Boom. A huge palm came crashing down from the sky. Shrouding the sky and covering the sun, it instantly sealed all of Long Fei's attack routes. Adding on the huge aura on Yuanxiong's body, this punch of Long Fei's was basically useless. It would only turn him into a live target and get ruthlessly ravaged by Yuanxiong. Brother Fei. Lei Ju shouted loudly. Many of the gang of heroes' disciples started laughing, We're dead meat. This is the sect leader's great grief palm art. Whoever is hit by it will definitely die. This kid is overestimating himself. To think that a 3-star Esper would dare to go head-to-head with the sect leader. He's really in a hurry to reincarnate. That's right. Under the pressure of the gigantic palm, Long Fei's body sank. He couldn't take it. However, Long Fei did not give up. He drew the bow and did not turn back. Since he had released the blasting fist, it must definitely explode. Dragon Step. Boom. Releasing the Dragon Step of the complete spell, Long Fei's body suddenly changed. He moved slightly in midair, directly charging towards the enormous palm and punching it with his fist. Ha ha ha. He is actually going to receive my great grief palm? Idiot. Yuanxiong sneered, and the power in his palm became even stronger. But right at this moment, the instant the two forces clashed, the power of the grief palm on his palm seemed to have instantly ruptured. Long Fei's fist directly smashed into the center of his palm. Bam! At this moment, the power of the exploding god was released. Crash! Long Fei's fist had penetrated Yuanxiong's palm, causing his flesh to burst and blood to spurt out crazily. Yuanxiong cried out in pain, Ah! Ah! Impossible! Impossible! Kid, you cannot break through the power of my great grief palm. although the pain was unbearable. However, Yu Wanxiong's reaction was not slow at all. With a flip of his left hand, he chopped down once again, die. This palm was even sharper. His strength became even stronger. However, Long Fei stood in place without moving, a smile hung at the corner of his mouth, and he said indifferently, "Explode for me." It was very calm. The 8 winds did not move, nor did they panic. He didn't even look at the huge palm above his head. He was incredibly calm. What is he doing? Has he gone mad? Why is there no reaction at all? Lei Ju and the others did not move as well, and broke out in a cold sweat for Long Fei. Just when Yu Wanxiong's left hand was still a few centimeters away from Long Fei, a strong gust of wind had already came crashing down heavily. At this moment, wow! Yu Wanxiong's eyes were wide opened, his pupils were constricting, and he was unable to control himself from spitting out a mouthful of blood. Bang, bang, bang. His right arm constantly exploded. In the blink of an eye, his entire arm exploded, and his flesh was the same as well. His internal organs were all exploding, and black blood was spurting out from his body. He could not control it at all. What was going on? The amount of health that he had left quickly bottomed out. He was going to be killed in an instant. Under the blasting fist, not a single blade of grass grew. With a heavy punch, no matter how strong your defense was, you would still be killed by the blasting fist. This was the blasting fist that Long Fei had fused with everything the Chaos Realm gave him. It was a complete mess. Boom. Ah! Yu Wanxiong screamed miserably, he could not take it any longer, and his huge body split apart as blood spurted out onto the ground. It was also at this time. Long Fei was secretly surprised. Aya, this is bad. The metamorphic energy value is not enough. Damn. F***ck, I suffered a huge loss this time. Long Fei had forgotten about metamorphic energy value. This was a boss. How could it be wasted? Swish 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 swish. Long Fei was extremely vexed. My metamorphic energy value. Damn you. It's all your fault for making Lousy unhappy, or else I'd have given you a few more seconds to live. Now, Whitey has wasted a boss just like that. Long Fei secretly complained in his heart. How can this be? Because metamorphic energy value is really so abnormal that you can't even imagine it. Sigh. He heaved a long sigh in his heart as the system beeped. Ding. Chapter 1678, Losing Something. Chapter 1678, Losing Something. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Yu Wanxiong for obtaining 100,000 experience, 10,000 holy power value points, and 1 energy values point. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Great Grief Palm. Do you wish to cultivate it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 10,000 Ghost Blade. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 30 Divine Spirit Pills. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 10 gold bills. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 1 blue panacea. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, 4-star God. The system beep frantically sounded. Looking at the object that had exploded, Long Fei felt a lot of bitterness in his heart. Since even the Great Sorrow Palm has exploded, if I could use my metamorphic energy value to evolve, I would definitely feel so good that it would explode. Why is it like this? Why can't I just endure for a little while? Long Fei was very, very unhappy. He looked annoyed. However, everyone around was shocked silly. 1 punch kill. Furthermore, after throwing that punch, Long Fei was surprisingly confident. He did not even bother looking at the attack on top of his head. He was completely confident. Too strong. Lei Ju was completely dumbfounded. The admiration in his heart was like an unending torrent of water. His entire body felt like it was ignited. Brother Fei, you're exploding the sky. Lan Yue also looked at Long Fei in disbelief. Never seen it before. In the hearts of the 4 of them, Long Fei's status was definitely extremely huge. He was definitely a genius disciple from some large sect in the Devil Island. Even Lei Ju was thinking about the reborn body of a certain great powerhouse. It had to be known that when many powerhouses ran out of longevity, they would condense and preserve their own energy before going through a cycle of reincarnation and being reborn in this manner. This kind of rebirther would always have unparalleled potential. As long as they released their energy coefficients, they would be able to reach the peak of their strength in a very short period of time. In the entire ancient holy battlefield, it was impossible to kill Yuanxiong, who was an 8-star God Realm expert with a cultivation level that was extremely important. It was definitely not something that could be crossed on a lower plane. One level after another. Even if you had an extremely strong spirit treasure, your cultivation technique would still be hard to pass, not to mention instantly jumping a level 5 to kill powerhouse. This was even more impossible. There was only one possibility. Long Fei was the reborn body of a certain almighty powerhouse. Slowly. The gang of heroes' disciples reacted. Looking at the exploded sect leader's bloody flesh on the ground, they immediately retreated and quickly ran out of the valley. Gang of heroes was just a motley crowd. They were all unforgivable villains. Once Yuanxiong died, all of them would instantly collapse. Furthermore, the power Long Fei displayed was too strong, so strong that they were unable to move him. Trying to run? Do you agree? Long Fei was currently in a rage. It was because he did not have the metamorphic energy value to miss out on the boss abnormal buff once. How could he let these people go? Long Fei moved a little and shouted, "Monster army, bite. Remember, bite them all, don't kill them with your bite." As soon as Long Fei finished his sentence, the demon beast on both sides of the valley came crashing down like a mad tide, blocking the entrance of the valley first. Countless demon beasts were incomparably arrogant. He was going to unleash all of his beastly nature. For freedom. They were incomparably savage and cruel. Long Fei's eyes were cold, his right hand held onto the demon's sword tightly as he shouted, "Attack." You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.